This week, we take a journey through Chimney's worst nightmares played out for laughs, Hen's crash and burn journey back to the 118, and the sizzle and sparks flying between May and Ravi.
As well as Buck's back breaking down along with his self-esteem, only to be built back up by the Stitch and Bitch knitting group, not once, but twice.
Eddie finds himself in several situations in the midst of trying to help Abigail, the teenager from the possession call in 905, back on her now tetanus-free feet. Also, the show really wants us to remember he'll do anything to not date a woman.
Have you ever watched something that completely rewired your brain chemistry?
A procedural network drama might not be your usual pick, but it's ours.
This is The Buddy System, a 911 yapathon hosted by three friends who have DM'd each other enough character dissertations to earn a PhD in media literacy.
I'm Han, coming to you straight from the characters' heads.
I'm Sil, bringing you to the observation deck.
And I'm Rachel, connecting the dots with my red string.
With our powers combined,
no stone is left unturned.
And no buddy is left behind. This is our 7th special episode covering Season 9. Today we're talking about
Season 9, Episode 10, titled Handle with Care, written by Christopher Monfett and Taylor Wong, directed by Bradley Buker. And the director of photography is Andrew Mitchell.
Hey, buddy. We're also covering Season 9, Episode 11, titled Going Once, Going Twice, written by Molly Green and James Leffler, directed by the wonderful, the amazing, the one and only Aisha Hines.
Yeah!
What a team.
Oh
and
my
with
God.
Russ
And the director of photography is PJ Russ.
Stacked.
What an incredible, list of names for all of these.
Yeah.
It's some of the best. They're all the best.
They're all the best. All right. So what did we think of episode 10?
Incredible.
My thoughts are more like the two episodes together
are so good.
I will say the sound editing in episode 10 really helps drive home a certain narrative. And I'm specifically talking about the kitchen scene at Eddie's house between Eddie and Abigail. So it was made so certain elements of the show, especially in post, really makes you think that something untoward is happening on Abigail's side. You know, I was in the middle of trying to do some editing and I was like, let me just take the background music out of the scene. And it's a completely different scene. It's kind of what made me Abigail's defense attorney because she was innocent. She was really innocent. And I think it's just it was very interesting how just this one little element with the music and the choice of dialogue, because you can read the dialogue in two different ways, but specifically the music just makes you think that there's something wrong. There's something bad happening here. And just the lead up to that also makes it feel like there's just something not great happening. But once you take the music out and you just watch the facial expressions and the acting between Ryan and Fallon, I think it's a completely different scene. It was supposed to be very innocent. You know, she was scared. She was,
seeking comfort.
She was seeking comfort.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if we all took a moment to kind of just looking at the acting, I think you can tell that that's not what you should have been thinking, but the show purposely made you think that way.
Yes. Yeah.
This episode is a perfect example of the post-production and sound helping to drive the narrative or a specific narrative, because they did kind of this in a couple different spots too. Like when the guy, I forget his name, was searching for his dad, Bill, and there was like this ominous music when, we didn't know if Bill had been taken or anything like that. And it was just I remember we were like, who's evil here? Like it was really leading us to believe certain things. It's just really good. And the ringing of the ears, kind of that high pitched tone, almost like a tinnitus ringing that happened for Abigail multiple times when she was on screen. Really good.
Yeah, they really nailed the can't think of the word that I want to use, so I'm gonna say the red herring of it all by really making it sound foreboding when it really was just mommy daddy issues and was seeking comfort. A scared, traumatized person. I really think that this episode had some of my favorite calls of the season, especially the one with Bill. It was so fucking funny. What a hero.
We love Bill in this house.
The lawnmower.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But I do just want to shout out that this episode and the cliffhanger in it did make us actually lose our minds in a fun way for the entire 4-week hiatus, because
Truly.
Was it fun?
it was fun. I like compared to like losing our minds trying to figure out if Bobby's alive or dead.
True. Never want to go back to that. You are so right.
Yeah,
Never
this
mind.
is more fun
No, this
than
was
that.
like we had like a whole theory, and I will say that part of our theory was correct. So yay, go us. That was fun.
Woo.
Then we kept going. The more we find out about the episode, we were like, what is happening in this episode? And how are we fitting all of this in one episode? And how is that going to all work together? And it worked so well. They balanced it really well for 11, but we'll get to that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just think that the cliffhanger of this right before our hiatus, genius.
It was played so
I think it was insufferable maybe in fandom for Abigail defenders, but I was not hanging out in fandom. I was hanging out with you guys. And by you guys, I mean my co-hosts and the people on Discord.
Yeah.
Who were Abigail defenders. But just like a great cliffhanger. Just a good episode all around.
I love when they give us like a little cliffhanger before a hiatus. I think that's
fun.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the suspense.
Yeah.
Because we were freaking out for 3 or 4 weeks. It's been a long month.
It's 4 weeks. We kept saying we were going to just let the episode happen, and then we would find out something else and be like, well, maybe.
Wait, what if this happened? Wait, what if they're doing this? Like, our brains just didn't stop.
No.
Like,
We went from, well, I think me and Han were there for 5 minutes, and then we were like, actually, no. We went from like, oh, Abigail evil, and then we're like, for me personally, and I'll get to it later, my heart wasn't in it. It just felt weird. Not the right story to tell for Eddie, for Eddie specifically, if that's where that direction that they wanted to go. Well, the very popular feeling, the theory that she was, being weird. Yeah, my heart wasn't in it. And then we went, actually, her parents are suspicious. And then we went a little bit more cuckoo bananas, and we were like, evil Alex. Which we'll get to, and was kind of a little bit more comforting. If
sometimes people who are bad at their jobs are evil,
Hey, yeah.
evil by incompetence?
Yes. By inflicting evil upon them by not doing their jobs well.
Also really loved the deep cuts that they were giving to us in episode 10. So stuff like in the courtroom when they're talking about how Eddie was an angry man. So like those deep cut parallels to the Fight Club era and early season 3 specifically, and also with Chimney and not purposely emulating what Captain Gerard did to him and Hen. I think that was great because the whole time we were like, oh, it's like he's being like Bobby was with Bug.
But no one would have thought of it that way who wasn't on the outside looking in.
Yeah. So like as the audience, we kept thinking of Bobby and Buck. But for the characters, this makes so much more sense to like bring it even further back to Gerard. And I think that was just like handled very, very well. Like just like really smart.
I guess it goes to low hanging fruit. I love that they brought back Abigail to kind of be like Eddie's proxy, and how like to use her as someone that he can relate to, and move forward with some of these issues that they bring up in this episode and in the next one.
Absolutely. Very smart.
So what could they have done differently or better?
I got nothing, guys. Sorry.
I don't have anything either.
It's so good.
Unpaid corporate plant. Here to tell you, it's another 10 out of 10 for me, dog.
10 out of 10 for episode 10. What can we say?
10s across the board.
So getting into episode 11, this was so highly anticipated for us. Not just because of the hiatus and like the suspense and the tension that 10 left us on, but like all of the things that we knew to expect, which was stuff about the auction. And
we were like, it's season 9, episode 11. You only get one 911 episode in 911. So it better be cool. It better be special. And it was.
Oh, yeah.
This was a bonkers fucking episode. Like, this is an episode of all time for this show and just like shows in general. This was incredible. And also the rewatchability of like straight 10 into 11. So good.
Yeah.
I don't know how they took all of the things that we kept learning going, what is this fucking episode? How are they doing all of this? And they just made it work. Like it just flowed so well. And it wasn't like sometimes this show is known for like the tonal switches. Sometimes when they're doing like a really heavy, then they do like a Buck being fucking ridiculous. You know, so it's like, you know, Maddie getting fucking kidnapped and going through the horrors, and Buck is like emotionally imprinting on a dog. That's basically, you know what I mean? Like we're used to that. So, but I thought this was going to be kind of really feeling those whiplashes like we do in those kinds of episodes, but I did not. I was just like, it was so seamless. It all worked so well.
I guess we kind of have to give also the credit to Molly Green and James Leffler. I was also very, not like concerned. I trust them because they're very good writers.
With our lives.
But I kind of like, I was like, with all of the things that we knew and the fact that there was like a very serious storyline happening, I was like, is there another episode where a very serious storyline was happening that I can watch so I can see that how they balance these things? And there was. So I went back and watched 8-12 Disconnected, which juggled Eddie and Maddie's storyline. So like Eddie was like a silly, goofy storyline where he's like an Uber driver. We got that 7-minute montage of him. 7 minutes of Uber driving. And then, but there's like heart to the story. There's, you know, with Chris coming back and being like, and then there was a very serious storyline, which was Maddie losing her voice and like finally regaining her voice. So I was just like, oh, okay, no, I trust them. It's fine. We're good. We're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. Even though there's bonkers shit happening on my list of things that I wrote out. I was like, what is happening? Okay. But yeah. So great job. Molly Green and Jim Buffler.
I think this is a perfect example, like a masterclass of breakneck pacing and tension. Like that was consistently engaging even on the rewatch, because I think we've seen this episode a couple times at this point, but it's just like, I think, Han, you're right, like this is going to be one of the like the most rewatchable episodes, like up there, just because of how engaging it is. And it was balanced so well. And also, like, kudos not just to Molly and James, but Aisha for directing this episode.
Yeah.
It's her second episode that she directed. She directed 8-11 from last season.
2 absolute masterpieces.
She is incredible.
Yeah.
Like, I think we said this with 8-11 as well, but there's something about, like, having Aisha direct this that she flows so seamlessly, I think, into this directorial role, where it's just like, it just seems like everything just fits in this episode. Like she's been doing this for forever. I mean, she kind of has, but not in this role, but it really shows like how much she understands 911 as a universe and all of her fellow actors and crew members. Like, it's just so good. Like, it's a seamless episode.
Yeah.
From all aspects.
Well, I think it also shows the trust and confidence that they have in her to like give her this episode, because I feel like this was so much more like, obviously it's character driven stuff like 8-11 was, and
the tones are different.
But the tones are different because we have this like thriller plot basically with suspense with Eddie's storyline. So
and the action.
And just like balancing the tonal shifts of that, like it was a lot. And then to like put the weight of like the 911 episode of 911, you know, on her. I think like everyone knew the fans were going to be like, this needs to be good. It needs to be special. And
it's made even more special.
They delivered that. Yes. And then they made it even more just special, like having her direct it. And she has such a beautiful artistic eye. Like I need to see her direct at least one episode every season.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Just like we had Jensen do on Supernatural. Thank you.
And I'm pretty sure they do 11 because it's one of the first ones that they were doing when they came back from hiatus. Or I think it is the first one that they filmed coming back in the new year after winter hiatus. So like it makes sense, just like she might have a little more time to prepare and everything. Yeah. But like, listen, if Aisha does like directs episodes 11 or whatever of every single season,
we're set.
We'll be very happy.
Yeah.
Please. And then also, I think we all really, really enjoyed Fallon Heaslip's acting, who played Abigail. I think she's amazing, and she really held her own. Like she was sharing scenes with Ryan Guzman, with Angela Bassett. Like that's some heavy work to do. Like and she managed to like do the whole range of everything. Like she was so believable in this role of Abigail, and like I think we're all kind of hoping that they give her an opportunity to come back. Yeah, because she's great.
I think most notable for me was like the micro expression she has when Athena's talking to her, where she realizes that it's her dad going after Eddie and that she's not there about something that Abigail did.
It's so subtle, but
oh my God, it was so fucking subtle. But I was like, I can see exactly what she's thinking and feeling and how she's trying to stuff it down so that she can cover for her dad to protect Eddie. Like it was crazy because I was like, the rest of the storyline coming together immediately. Like I think it already did with the spray paint, but I was like, if I wasn't sure before, I absolutely am with this reaction. So just really, really great work.
It was just really interesting. I kind of do hope that she comes back. It's a weird like nod, but on her Instagram, she kind of teased like, hey, maybe Abigail will come back someday. And I'm just like, girl, don't play with me. But, but I think what's important to note, I guess, is that for 905 and 910, she was just a co-star role. Then she got bumped up to guest star for 911.
Nice.
Nice.
Good for her.
So it'd be interesting. They definitely liked her.
I hope she's very proud of her performance because it was excellent.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, the auction just worked very, very well. I feel like that was everything we could have ever wanted.
Incredible.
But like, not in a fan servicey way because it did work so well. But it was everything. And I'm sure we'll get into it more.
Yeah. I also just really loved the locker room scene. Again, they keep, I feel like, I don't know if someone heard us complain that we weren't getting locker room and fire engine scenes.
Well, we haven't gotten fire engine scenes in a minute now, I feel.
Well, we did at the beginning.
At the beginning.
We did at the beginning.
Season 9. Yeah.
But we're getting locker room scenes multiple every episode now. Yeah.
Good.
Which is awesome. But I loved that scene.
Oh my God.
Because it was just everyone ragging on Buck.
Oh my God.
And then him being like his little comeback and Harry not understanding what ED was. And none of them being like, I'm not going to take the hit to explain to the 18-year-old what we're talking about here.
They're like, okay, time to go.
Yep. So, yeah, just a really good episode. I can't wait to watch it 11 more times.
Yep.
And forever. Obviously, I think we're giving this one also no notes amazing episode 11 out of 10.
11 out of 10.
Yep. We've got a 10 out of 10 or a 10s across the board and an 11 out of 10.
My only notes are not even like, it's just like Alex is just bad at her job, but they kind of had to write her as bad at her job to make it work narratively. You know what I mean?
Like it has a purpose
for the misdirect, but like, my God, that woman's bad at her job.
Yeah. But that's not like so much a thing of the episode.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah. I guess we can talk about like what worked together and like, just to tie into what you're saying, which I kind of already said, like for the first 5 minutes, we believe Abigail bad, but like these two episodes, I don't know, like these two episodes worked very well. The red herring, the misdirect was so good. They even played with Alex being so bad at her job and then to position her in a way where she's like painting Abigail. It's so weird, right? She's the professional, right? She's a professional and she's
unprofessional.
And she's being unprofessional by painting this child that she didn't even, well, she's an adult, but she's practically a child. Painting her as like a villain or someone that's out here to do bad things. It's just it's bizarre, but they played into it and it worked well because at the end of the day, the purpose of this episode was to kind of show that Eddie, specifically through kindness and a good heart, he was still there for Abigail. Does that make sense?
No, that makes absolute sense. Like
no,
it
100%.
The whole kind of purpose of this is to show like how good Eddie is. Like in his core, and how his instincts are also good as well.
Well, and how he's a true advocate for a victim instead of leaping to conclusions. I feel like when we do the rewatch on this, we'll have so much more to say about it and like dig into that, like not just for Eddie and his character work, but like the implications of that, where like the firefighter is the only one being an advocate when you have she's not a social worker, but she's a professional advocate. Like she's a mental health professional and a police officer, and they're both just willing to just dismiss this girl when they know exactly what she's been through. So it just, these episodes worked so well together, and they also worked really well, obviously bouncing off of 905 and all of Abigail's backstory. This is the kind of like two-parter I like.
Yeah.
Where it's like this didn't take up the entirety of these 2 episodes, you know what I mean? It didn't distract from other things happening, but it was still felt like I'm locked in, like what's going on? I'm concerned. And it was really cool because like we were very invested already in Abigail from, 905 and bringing her back. Like it was just really smart.
Yeah, exactly. I think you said that really well, where these 2 episodes in hindsight are so interconnected that they do really work as a 2-parter, but not in the way that we saw so many 2-parters of emergencies like last season, where it was so many of those. It was like kind of a continuation of an emergency, but it wasn't like big event thing happening. It was more of a 2-parter that was so character driven and character focused. And that is one of the things that makes it so strong and engaging.
Yeah.
Especially on rewatch, being able to watch 10 and then go right into 11.
Yeah.
Like they work really well. Even though like in real time we had the hiatus, but it's great.
Also, what worked in general with these 2 episodes, it gave me something that I didn't think I needed, which was teenage girl dad Eddie. It's a trope that I end up liking through different kinds of media. So it's very similar to me. It's very similar to Dean Winchester and Claire Novak from Supernatural, because Dean is, he's always there trying to help kids, and a little bit of Joel Miller and Ellie Williams from The Last of Us. And what really got me to think about them specifically was the courtroom scene, because of when you're in episode 1 of The Last of Us, you see, I think Joel kills this guy like in front of Ellie, and then Ellie's like immediately like attached. So like in a, he saved me kind of way. So I was just like, because of the way Eddie was testifying against Abigail's parents, it just was very similar, because they're both like watching. It's like, okay, immediately
like imprint.
They immediately imprinted on them. So yeah.
But also them as like dad figure, and not like whatever Alex was thinking.
I mean, I hope anyone listening to me understands that I am not in that weird area of whatever that was, like everyone else was.
No,
I was like, I don't need to clarify.
I think our initial reaction, like in the live stream for a little bit, was just like, because of the promo, we were like, oh my God, what is happening? And we were so lost in the sauce of just like the kidnapping plot. How could this go? And then we were like, wait a minute.
It's going to take like 2 minutes and it's not actually going to be kidnapping, and Chris is fine.
We're like, wait a minute. She's not actually kidnapping him.
Well, it's also, they also kind of fucked up in the promo, because they left that little like bit of Abigail.
Oh yeah.
When Athena's bursting through the in the motel or whatever. And I was just like, oh, okay. She was just helping him. It's fine. Innocent. She's just a kid.
I will just say too, since you brought up Dean and Claire Novak, that like that's such a good comparison, because it's not just the girls imprinting on them. It's like they're imprinting on these girls who they see themselves in.
Yes.
And that they want to help like save from the kinds of things that they've experienced and help them.
Dean is very much similarly like Eddie, like an advocate for people in that way too. Yeah. Oh, amazing.
All right, so here's some character moments, our favorite moments, or just moments we're highlighting from these 2 episodes. We're going to start with Athena. Mine isn't even really Athena. I'm so sorry. I'm just so gagged by Dream Athena. Don't look to me for comfort. You killed my son. So funny. give her an Emmy.
I can't get over the
Behind
stills, the behind the scenes.
I know.
Like, stills from
her just
from
like
that episode with like
the arms crossed.
Angela Bassett just like cross arms in the bed with like Kenny Choi. And
so fucking funny.
So funny.
I would have to leave the room if I was there watching that.
No, same.
Would not be able to keep a straight face.
No. So good. All right. My favorite moment for Athena was when she bit on Harry because she was just like, that's my baby. That woman is too old. And so she ended up buying her child back.
And that's so valid though, because like when they were like, here's Harry Grant, I was like, he's 18. Like he's freshly 18. This feels weird. Yep. So I'm glad that she was like, no, maybe next year.
She was correct.
She was correct.
Yeah. She was correct for doing that. But like Harry's never going to hear the end of that
from everyone.
Forever. And it's going to be great.
Chim and Maddie were like,
oh my God.
Their reactions were
so funny.
Perfection. I'm kind of combining my Athena and Harry and May moments together because
and then you're going to be silent for the rest of them.
Well, there's a preface. You're like every single time when we get to you, just be like reference back to Athena. Reference back to Athena. Yeah. You'll hear that twice.
It's just the three. It's just the three of them because it's such like a Grant Nash family moment.
Yeah.
In episode 10, after Harry's like first week on the job as a probie, and Athena and May collectively like gift Harry Bobby's knife, like his old used knife that's like now an heirloom being passed down, but also give Harry a brand new knife, which is what Bobby would have wanted to give him. And so now he has two. And it's just like, I get goosebumps just like thinking about it. I rewatching the episode, like it got me again. Like I was crying again. And it's just like that. It was such a beautiful moment. And one of those ways where like it brings Bobby back to the forefront, but like in a very like gentle way where it's like
in a very natural way.
Elijah did such a great job with his reaction to this about like getting kind of remorseful. Like I wish Harry saying like, I wish he was here.
Yeah.
Which is something that I think they all felt so deeply. It was just an incredibly beautiful scene. I love that so much. Yeah. So that takes care of all of them for me.
Okay. And then let's move on to Harry and May.
Okay. So May Ravi canon.
Yeah.
Incredible work. Because I should have seen it coming for this episode specifically. I think we all wanted May Ravi to happen. But unrealistic thing that nobody bet on Ravi. So she had to get the ball rolling.
That's crazy.
Bro, that was crazy.
That's the most unrealistic thing in 911.
I don't have $300. I would have been like, yes.
I would have. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, she got the ball rolling and then she kept betting on him and then kept betting on him because she's like frantically looking around. She's like, actually, no,
a little jealous.
I don't like this. $1,600 right here.
So
good for her.
Yeah, good for her.
And like the shots of their expressions to each other, like right after.
Oh my God.
Was so cute.
They were.
But Harry's reaction.
Oh my God.
And Athena's reaction.
Oh my God.
Athena took me the fuck out. I can't. Yeah. She's just like $1,600. You're a college student.
Oh my God. Everybody's reactions to that.
So funny.
So good.
Even Chim and Maddie were like,
ooh, tea.
Oh.
They ship it.
They do.
Yeah.
My moment is for Harry because May is kind of, well, I guess my May moment would be her embodying the clipboard version of her older spiritual brother Buck.
Oh, true.
To do, to take care of the auction. And then for Harry, just how fucking excited he was to show up for his first day as a firefighter and like remembering him showing up in the same firehouse. Like when he was a little kid with his school, I was just like, this is the best. He's just wanted to do this forever. And he's just so happy to be there, like a little eager puppy. And then,
wait, has someone put that together in an edit yet?
I don't know.
From like the season 2 episode.
But they should. It's just, it's so beautiful until Chimney ruins it.
Oh my God.
You stay.
Stay.
Okay.
I'm just gonna add for Harry, love that he saved Chimney from that car. Great job. Great job on your first, second, I don't know, your first shift.
Your first call, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, for Chimney, I really love how he was able to pull himself out of being overprotective dad / uncle / captain mode and recognizing that he needed to like change that behavior and let like Harry kind of like fly out of the nest sort of thing. Well, because of the talk with Hen, but it was like Chimney realized like he needed someone to take a chance on him. So this is his opportunity to kind of like pay it forward, even though like he wants to protect. That's just good captain material, but he also has to let them grow up sometime.
So sorry to say this again. It just was really funny to me, guys. Him being haunted by Athena in his dreams. So funny. And the waking up the dream within a dream.
I love that trope.
And then the way that like he brings it up at breakfast when she's like, what was it this time? Because like he's been having obviously these recurring nightmares of Harry dying under his captaincy. And he's like, I forget what the exact wording is, but he was like, and Athena was there, but we might want to put a pin in that.
Yeah.
Oh God.
So funny.
Oh my God.
I really enjoyed Chimney, even though he does his like typical ribbing towards Buck, like, but he's still being a big brother-in-law. And I love that he took concern and onto like why Buck didn't want to join the auction to the point that he brought in the big guns, which was Maddie.
Yes.
I think there's something to say because I think I've been seeing some like commentary throughout the season about like how like Buck keeps catching strays from Chimney specifically. And I'm just like, that's big brother-in-law behavior. Like, and this is not the first or second
siblings.
But that's just siblings. And that's how they've always been. I just, you know,
even before they were related.
Exactly. So really love that he was there for Buck, and to the point that he's like, I need help with him, but obviously there's something wrong here.
The only time I ever like I get irritated with Chimney doing that stuff is when it's very obvious that Buck isn't doing well and like is not in a good mental space for that kind of ribbing, because it's kind of like a read the room situation, but that's very far and few between. And this was not one of those situations. This was a like, I'm poking you because something's wrong. So I'm going to keep saying true things to you. Like, you love being objectified. You love being
what a
bit
line.
on like a slab of beef. Like, you know what I mean? And it's just like, he's like, well, I know that you're lying. I just need to know why. Like he's picking on him and he's poking him because he wants Buck to open up about like what's actually bothering him.
Yeah. And it's his particular brand and way of doing it. Yeah.
Very Chim.
So I understand how like people like can get defensive of Buck sometimes, but like I think Buck has shown that he is fine with it. There's very few instances where I can like point to, and I think there's only one that we've gotten to in our rewatch episodes so far in 3 full seasons that I've talked about. So,
and Chimney always has like his Buck's best interests at heart.
Yeah, of course. And he knows that. He knows that. Buck knows that.
That's why it's fine.
Same with Eddie, but we're not, it's not about Eddie, but if
we can always make it about Eddie.
I'll make it about Eddie too.
Are we ready for Maddie? Oh, Maddie, Buckley Han. Oh my God. You were a queen for this whole conversation.
With Buck?
Just first of all, how she shows up and she's like, liar.
Yes.
Because he is. But the fact that she's just like, you're 30. What do you mean? Like, this is just normal shit. But it's the part where she just wraps it all up with the bow by going, screw the rest of the world. Get out there and shake your ass, old man.
Oh,
okay? For the orphans.
Another Maddie line of all time.
Funny.
Like,
oh my God.
Shake your ass, old man, okay? For the orphans.
He's like, okay. Like, such a good scene.
I love when they let Maddie like just be Maddie. Like that is big sister of all time.
Yes.
Like, oh, she's so great.
So anyway, my highlight for Maddie is agreeing in the first place, agreeing and doing this, agreeing to bet on Eddie because Eddie asked her to.
Of course.
And the fact that she had to come back to the table and explain like why she walked away for like a hot second. She's like, yeah, I was betting on Eddie. And then she just pulls these faces like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chimney's like, why? And she's like,
huh?
Not my thing to say. Not my thing to tell.
Nope.
I've seen a couple like tweets comparing the to 8-11.
Oh yeah, when she's like
talking to Buck and she's
like patting down the towels when he's like in love with my straight best friend. Who wants me to be pining over my straight best friend?
Like, it wouldn't be so crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maddie's connecting some dots. I think she's already connected them.
She connected them in season 2. We saw that happen.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
When there was like 2 dots.
Yeah.
Now there's like a whole constellation of them.
Yeah.
So
she's been suffering just as long as we have. But she's not going to do anything about it, but she'll be there if they need to talk. But I will say, finally, a Tootie moment.
I know.
Thank God.
Incredible.
Crazy. And it's crazy that it was just about, hey, can you spend an insane amount of money on me?
What a wild first actual conversation to have them have.
Yeah. Wait, but you know what's even crazier though?
No, don't.
Because she was supposed to be his love interest.
Well, there's that.
No. Is that Ryan and Jennifer Love Hewitt still didn't have the scene together because Kenny and Jennifer filmed their coverage of that on a different day. I read in one of the articles and I forget.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yes. They filmed that on a different day.
I was very confused.
So like when Eddie says like, hey, I'll vend you $2,500 to Maddie, he's not even talking to Jennifer. And it's just like, they want scenes together so bad. The universe is conspiring against them.
They really, really are. That's unfortunate. Well,
I forget where I saw that, but I
think
saw
it's
that
the Max
somewhere.
Now article, I think.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Also, to Han, what you were about to bring up, I think it is funny that she had to bet on Eddie because, back in season 2, or, she was supposed to be Eddie's love interest, but she was like, no, I want Chimney. It's just a funny gesture to kind of like bring back to the forefront,
Yeah. And then one of my favorite moments, I mean, I love how supportive Maddie has been like this entire season for Chimney and for Buck and basically everybody. So we saw in episode 10 when she's telling Chimney that he's going to do a great job and Harry's going to be fine with him. And then at the end of the episode, I just really love, when Chimney's like, oh yeah, and Harry saved my life. And then Maddie's just like, wait, your life was in danger?
Chimney.
Chimney.
I just really love that.
Yeah.
Excellent delivery as always.
Next we have Robbie. So my highlight, which isn't really a highlight, but it's a little funny scene, is so Harry is asking Chimney and the rest of the guys, like, their coffee orders and stuff. And mind you, Harry is the barista with the experience to go get coffee.
It's the only experience he has. As Buck points out.
Yeah.
What a burn.
And then Chimney's like, well, Ravi over here can go get it for us. Don't worry about it. Because, it's like he does, Chimney doesn't want him
Probie
to.
strays again.
He is. That's exactly what it is. He's just like, I'm not the Probie anymore. He is. Like, I graduated from that status. Put some respect on my name. Stand up for yourself, Ravi. Either way, you won. You won in these 2 episodes.
You did. So
You did.
true.
Got May.
Also, Ravi's got jokes. I love learning more about Ravi or like more of his personality I think these were both in episode 10 when they were talking about Harry and Chimney giving him like duty and Ravi said like any lighter duty and he'd float away. And then when Eddie brings Abigail to the station and Ravi's like, it's usually Buck is the one who brings in strays. Like Ravi's so funny actually. And I just really appreciate that.
He's got a little bit of foot and mouth disease.
Different kind of ED.
Oh, Ravi.
Proceeds not to explain. Yeah.
So funny. And I guess my highlight for Ravi is just all of the cute looks he was giving May in episode 11. I knew that shit was going to happen just from the looks that they were giving each other, but especially like May shows up and he's like, he lights up. He is giving her looks. LEWK looks.
That was very well
the entire
foreshadowed.
episode. Yeah.
Like visually.
Yeah.
They're just so cute. And at the very end, like the montage with Hen's voiceover, and they're like at dinner, it's just like two so sparkly eyed people.
Oh my God.
It's wild. Like
Disney prince and princess.
They're so pretty,
right?
They're so pretty.
They are Disney prince and prince for real.
Yeah.
All right. And then for Hen, I love when, well, I didn't love that she and Karen were in the car accident, but that being said, just the way Hen's instincts took over and she like jumped into action as she's like having this crisis of identity. Like, who am I if not a paramedic? And it's just like, she is always at her core. And we've talked about this before, like a healer and a helper. And like, that's just who she is. So she just like, she didn't think about herself. She didn't give herself time to worry about like, oh no, is this going to get me a flare up? Like overthink things. She just goes right into helping people at the car accident. And because that's who she is. And then she's like, I'm a paramedic. And it's like, yeah, you are. I love that for her.
And I guess bouncing off of that, my favorite moment of Hen's arc, I think just like completely of this whole chronic illness arc was just this like very relatable for me moment of just like having this of like finally feeling good and like finding a balance and finding, you know, things that are working to like keep you out of pain, and then being scared, having real fear of just like doing normal things in fear of like going back to that bad place of having the flare-ups of losing, you know, like your autonomy again, like of being able to do things yourself, all the things that you want to be able to do for yourself. Like when she shows up and they're like, oh my God, you're walking by yourself and you drove yourself, which seems like normal things, but it's not stuff that she obviously takes for granted anymore. So just seeing her, when we know how much that she loves what she does, be willing to like possibly give it up forever because of the fear of like being in that kind of pain again, I thought was such like the most realistic part, I think, of her whole chronic illness storyline. And I really appreciated it.
They did a really beautiful job like threading the needle with that, I think, through, you know, episodes 6 through 11.
My highlight for Hen is how she was brought back in to basically give Chimney a bit of a talking to about Harry, like trying to make him understand that Harry is not just only someone's son. So like, you know, he had concerns about Harry, like every single time that Chimney would see Harry, all he sees is like the people that he's lost, and especially Bobby, and like how during Chimney's Probie year, it was, you know, he lost Kevin, you know, all of these things. So, you know, he's got a lot of trauma related things, but Hen is able to like bring him back around and be like, hey, because this job is so, it can be very dangerous. Like Harry needs to have these experiences to be able to, you know, work the job properly. So yeah, so she was able to bring him back around and convince him to, you know.
Yeah, that was a beautiful conversation. That was really lovely. Hen's kind of like Jimmy Cricket a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. I think they both are.
Yeah.
They're just besties.
For each other.
Like any best friends are.
Like any, they're just great besties.
All right, Buckley. Evan Buckley. They said it on the show.
They sure did.
Oh, Buck.
I feel weird. I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel weird when I have to say Buckley. It's just weird to me. It doesn't roll off properly for me.
It's fun for me. Okay. Show up at the hospital uninvited. Don't show any concern. For how Eddie's doing. Look him up and down and then say, we can sell that as sexy. Bro, what?
Eddie's also like, bro, what?
Like, thought he was like, oh, my best friend's here. He's concerned about me. Like, no.
How is this going to work for the auction?
Which is so funny because he wasn't really involved in it like until then. Like May is really running the thing. He's not doing much, but he's
there's
like,
there's a little bit of clipboard Buck in there, like,
but not really. He's not doing. He's like giving peanut gallery comments. You know what I mean? But he's not helping organize it. He's not really participating. But he's like, you know what? We can sell this as sexy, and you're gonna wear your turnouts, and I'm gonna fucking oil you up. Because I know Eddie was not doing that to himself.
No. Oh, no. Yeah, no.
So just impeccable Just impeccable, not an ounce of self-awareness.
I was like, how did you get there? And I was like, you know what? You're right. Because who else is doing
it? May's not backstage.
No.
He's the one kind of running the backstage, even though he's the one like waiting to go last, basically. He's kind of He's kind of like keeping the dudes in line, being like, it's your time to go.
And if anything, it's specifically the 118 because there were multiple firehouses. Yeah.
But yeah, just we can sell that as sexy with his flirty face, looking him up and down. Oh, I'm so sure.
Oh, boy.
Oh, right. That's me. I'm sorry. I was just imagining the thing. Okay.
Replaying in our heads. Yeah.
In my head. It's not like I can just pull up the episode. Well, I could. Okay. My highlight is, Buck accepting that he's now in his 30s and that he realizes he's not young anymore, that he parties less, he likes to bake. And those are qualities that, hey, a future partner would really like. And
wow.
Yeah. Interesting. But, I love that he's like very accepting of himself now, that he likes the new Buck. And to Maddie's point, like, no, he doesn't want to go back to who he was 9 years ago. So yeah, I just love how this episode really highlighted Buck's growth for him.
I think that was something that was like really needed for him to like say, I really like who I am now. Yeah. Because we've had like the previous, like Buck update, like 1.0, 2.0, 1.5, whatever. But like it always
I'm glad
felt like
we aren't doing that anymore. I'm so glad. But he had a canon event, which is every person in their 30s goes, actually, I would hate to be in my 20s again. And if you haven't gotten there yet, excited for you. You will one day realize, actually, I would hate to be in my 20s again.
Yeah.
And I also just really love the entire moment of Buck being hit on by the folks of the Stitch and Bitch. Like, that's so real. I think we've mentioned a number of times how is like nobody on the 118 just getting like hit on by the people they're helping on the calls, like literally all the time. And this gave it to us. Like you have Blanche being like, oh, look at you with like Eddie and Ravi, which like when she could finally see, but then the rest of them just like feigning these illnesses or whatever just to get a little just to get a little extra attention from Buck. And I thought that was great and it made him feel good. Like and Chimney was like, you're still that guy. Like what a nice little ego boost.
Cute.
That was very enjoyable to watch.
All right, Eddie. So highlight for me is I guess the overall. So Eddie having like this big heart and being able to see Abigail for who she really was and helping her in spite of like others like villainizing her to him. I thought that was so great that even though people were trying to tell him to not bother, he still didn't give up on her. So I thought that was really good. And being able, I feel like there's a little bit of healing for the both of them too. So I thought that was really beautiful.
Yeah. I didn't have anything written down because I was just like all of it, but I don't know. There's something about Eddie in these two episodes that I really appreciate him like reaching out to people to like basically ask for some extra support and assistance, because he reached out to Alex so she could help him help Abigail, and then he reached out to Athena so she could do the same thing essentially. And just like Eddie asking for help, which I think is a difficult thing for him because he always feels so responsible for things. And he does say like he feels responsible for, making Abigail, so upset after he yelled at her, which was, kind of warranted. But like asking Athena specifically because he knew that she wouldn't arrest her because he doesn't want that. And I just really love that kind of growth in Eddie to lean on others when he needs to a little more now. And it's not just like all, compartmentalizing and like built up inside him. He's learning to reach out, which I think is like a lot of what this season is for so many of the characters, actually.
And while Alex wasn't actually helpful, I bet he thought that he was doing the equivalent of what Buck did by having Carla show up to help Eddie and Chris, where it was like that was a life raft for him, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is, because
that's what he thought he was doing.
He brought Abigail
the perfect
to the
person
station,
to help. Yeah.
Just like Buck did with Christopher.
Yeah.
Like
so many amazing Eddie moments in these two episodes, but
Just to bring some levity into it again.
The fact that he bid on himself.
Oh
and
God.
it wasn't just that. It was that the fact when Athena was like, you bid on yourself in the auction, he was like, worth every penny.
yeah, he is.
But yeah, no, he really was like, no, I'm going to text my best friend's sister while I hide in this makeshift coat rack closet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still going to ham it up. So people bid as much money as possible that I have to pay.
So that I can write the check myself.
Yeah, that's crazy girl behavior. And I love when he's being a crazy girl.
I love that so much.
He used all of his like logical thinking stuff on helping Abigail and taking care of that.
What's the slogan that's like, because you're worth it? Like is L'Oreal. L'Oreal, because you're worth it. That's Eddie to himself in the mirror, because you're worth it.
I kind of feel like he has been doing that.
But also just like on a not hee hee ha ha level, like I do love that this is him continuing to just like choose joy and
choosing himself
and his choosing himself literally.
Yeah.
You know who I would most like to go on a date with? No one. Myself. Me.
Because that will bring me more joy than anything else. So like, yeah.
Hilarious.
And now you have to write a check. Which is what he wanted to do in the first place.
Yeah. Character of all time.
Character of all time.
He could have, if he had $2,500, he could have just written a check and not done any of that. But instead, he still had to whore himself out and ham it up.
And for what? Because you can look, but you can't touch.
Yeah, for other reasons.
For other reasons.
Later.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This brings us to a very special edition of Queer Eddiemaxxing.
It's always a special edition.
It's just editions, but it's special to us. Okay.
My God.
Yeah, so I think a lot of this is going to tie into stuff that like we've already kind of previously mentioned. And I think we've kind of collected it in like sections. So we'll start talking about the stuff with Abigail first. So like the absolute lack of interest shown in Alex by Eddie when Abigail brought her up in 9-10 when Abigail came over for dinner, basically.
Mm-hmm.
When she was like, is that all she is? Just like a coworker, like someone helping out. She's really pretty. And then Eddie just like, what do you mean?
He's like, huh?
Yeah.
She's
like, when Abigail was like, is that all she is? And Eddie's just like, I'm sorry, what do you mean by that? Just like so like taken aback, like doesn't understand what she's talking about or implying. And the way then when Abigail says like, oh, she's really pretty, and Eddie just brushes things off. He literally removes himself from the conversation by taking the plates into the kitchen. And he's like shaking his head as he enters the kitchen too. Like, I can't believe I have to deal with this.
No,
from an 18-year-old too.
From an
like
18-year-old and his own kid because Christopher's like, who's Alex? And so like it's like the two kids kind of like also ganged up on him a little bit. It's so funny. And literally it's because like it didn't like the whole Alex thing did not cross his mind
occur to him.
No.
Yeah, at all.
No. She is to Eddie at this point because nothing else was implied, just like someone that he met that can help him help Abigail.
Yep.
That's it.
She is
so professional.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She's a colleague. It's literally it. It's how he views her. So then getting more into the Abigail stuff, there's definitely something here. And I know we started talking about this back in our 905 special, back when we met Abigail, but there's definitely something to be said about him imprinting on this very queer-coded, religiously traumatized girl and wanting to protect her. Why does it seem so personal? Like, why, you know what I mean? The amount of, like, you could compare it also to 413 with Charlie, how he took that personally, like abusing kids, right? But I feel like this is so much more personal because we don't really see him follow up with Charlie. Like, he doesn't like get out and be like, how's, like, where's, like, I need to make sure like I need to personally physically be invested in Charlie's well-being. So
we did get a follow-up with Charlie, but it was Buck who
but it was Buck
who did that.
Being like, see, this is like why what we do is worth it, right? But
this is your impact.
Yeah. And then to just kind of like touch on the like further kind of queer coding we get from Abigail, this might just be me, but she brought up Alex being pretty, and we know for sure that wasn't jealousy or interest like that. Like, she's not interested in Eddie. So it's the fact that she goes out of her way to be like, she's pretty. And then I think Alexa and me kind of were like, is this possibly her trying to like suss out if he's also queer? Because it's possible that like on top of him just being like so empathetic and just like displaying that he's a good dad, like the big gay dad vibes could be a reason that she felt so safe with him. Yeah. So again, this is very much reading into queer coding of another not canonically confirmed person who also just is queer coded. But it's like mirroring queer coding, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yes. Because like that queer coding was really set in place in 905.
Yes.
And it was very much in conversation for both Abigail and Eddie in that way. So it's like they are actually continuing that.
Yes.
Very, very well.
Yeah. And then in episode 11, he just like Syl has mentioned several times now, he just does not give up on her. And, you know, there's a lot to be said there of like him just very much never wanting to see the worst in her. Like he gets really angry and yells at her, and then he immediately regrets like in the moment and tries to get her to stop and tries to take it back because he didn't mean what he said, because he knows that's not really what she was trying to do, that she wasn't, you know, being crazy. And
and he was also like acting out of fear.
Yeah, exactly.
A little bit.
So but I think this is specifically like in the hospital, you know, when he's like, I assumed the worst of her, right? When it comes out like and they're laying out exactly what happened and how she was protecting him, right? Sacrificing herself to protect him.
Yeah.
And Alex is like, no, you saw her for who she was. And I was like, oh, the queer coding layers and that, and seeing yourself in someone else and seeing the quiet parts out loud of someone else when you see something like that. Like, I know the anger part was there on the surface, but I really think the like traumatized by your parents and the queer coding is definitely a big part of that. So just Eddie, again, in this whole episode, everyone else was jumping and leaping to conclusions, and he continued to handle her with care and endless empathy, like he understood her. Like he understood her and no one else did.
Yeah.
And I just think that's really interesting. And it's not that I'm saying, oh, it's just because like he sees queerness in her, but I think it's very interesting.
It's just an added
he
layer.
Was the only character that was giving her any benefit of the doubt. Like he really understood her. And it wasn't just general empathy that he has for everyone. It was like, no, I understand her. She's just trying to help. Like, I don't know, maybe thinking of him like as a little kid, his mom's going into labor and he's driving the car. You know what I mean? Like where it's like, okay, he couldn't safely do that, but he didn't know any better. He was just trying to help. So I don't know. I just think that there's something, there's several things, obviously, in him that really latched onto her and understood and connected with her. And that's why it was so personal. But I think the like unspoken queerness was definitely one of them.
No, definitely. Like there were so many layers, and it's very apparent when you go back to watch that scene in 905 when, you know, Buck brings in the Ouija board and Eddie goes off on him about like, you know, Abigail happened.
Yeah.
You know, she put her whole entire, like she believed in, I forgot really the
she
entire
did everything she was supposed to.
She did everything she was supposed to.
Yeah. And what did she get?
And what did she get? Tetanus, lockjaw. 30 years of therapy. It's like, I think I'm going to talk about this a little bit more, you know, with the Un-Repression checklist. We're bringing that back. But but there's so many layers that he does like connect with her. It's the religious trauma, the parental trauma, being someone who's just trying to help and like no one believes you or gives you the benefit of the doubt or anything. And it's kind of like he does kind of save her. He does kind of save her from 30 years of trauma, because if it continues throughout her 20s, I mean,
then she'll end up exactly where he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's something that like Eddie is being the kind of person that he wishes he could have had back when he was younger, and like the world was on his shoulders even back then, and like feeling so responsible for everything. And it's like, and that could work also with either or both of them being queer, you know, where it's like someone to kind of like guide you along in this different like sphere of the world, you know, to give you guidance, not just like as a parental figure, figure, but like, all encompassing.
I was just going to add, you mentioned Han. Well, both of you, I think, mentioned something like around the lines of how the storyline and like how it's continuing and like even the queer coding is continuing throughout. Perfect opportunity to bring her back and actually make her canonically a queer character.
Yeah. Just more links to draw.
Yep. And maybe he can work through something with her, like, oh, this is why my parents did all this to me, tortured me.
Yeah. And then also, not only did Eddie just completely like bypass anything Abigail mentioned about Alex regarding like any sort of attraction there, but when Eddie is talking to Athena at the police station and Alex is there, and Athena basically kind of asks like, oh, so you two are, Eddie's just like, no. Like doesn't even blink, doesn't even like,
he shuts it down.
It's a little bit of awkwardness, but I think in the way that it's awkward that like anybody would even imply that.
Yeah.
You
it's
know?
not awkward in the way that you do when you're setting it up where you're like, no, it's not like that.
Like, no.
You know what I mean?
Is where it's like harboring secret crush that you're trying to like, not tell the crush. No, this is just kind of like, why is everybody talking about that? Like, no. And like, also just the fact that like Alex was right there as he was basically like, shutting that down.
Why I just thought of this as a comparison. It's definitely not a 1-to-1, but it's like when Scott Hunter comes out and everyone keeps asking him if he's sleeping with Ilya Rozanov. He's like, why the fuck does everyone keep asking me this?
Wait, no, actually,
that
makes sense.
I don't know that man.
I don't know that. No, it's also the way he, I think when Athena's like, what makes you think, like, what would be Abigail's motive? Like, why?
And he's like
her
points behind him.
She's like, what do you
her?
think that means? And he said, my best guess, her.
It's like,
it's so dismissive of Alex. Just like, she's just part of this, like, tertiarily, like, because she kind of has to be.
Yeah.
I don't feel comfortable with it, but like, it's the truth. Like, it's probably
like,
that.
I guess it's her.
Like, I've looped you in this far, I might as well loop you in to the rest of it.
And it's not even his best guess. Alex had to paint that picture for him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is funnier.
She was kind of like leading it along the whole time, especially with like the shot of her like resting her hand on his hand in the cafe. And just like the fact that Alex was there basically at every turn this whole episode of
we don't even know if anyone was actually watching them at the cafe. That could have just been an outside shot.
But I think
it was implied that it was the dad.
No, but I think the intent is that someone's watching that.
Yeah,
Abigail,
that's the intent. But like, I think in retrospect, with what was actually happening, no one was actually watching him, because like, why would her dad get angry about him with
that is true
Alex?
I see what you're saying. Yeah, because no one mentions it,
and Abigail wasn't actually following him.
Or
Abigail wasn't actually following him. I don't know what the fuck Alex is doing.
Not her job. No, either.
Not her job. Not well.
but she's there the whole time, and it's like, I don't know that it's ever really like alluded to that she has interest in Eddie, but like Eddie does not have interest in her.
No, but she is projecting. She's like, I was the other woman in the room. You know what I mean?
I mean,
some people are gay, Alex. Some people have mommy and daddy issues and not Freudian transference. Okay.
Alex is new to meeting the 118. She's only met them a couple of times. She doesn't know that they are.
Okay, Alex, defender number one.
Oh, no, don't assign that role to me. No.
Anyway.
Sorry. Wait, I'm sorry. Just to clarify, I did not hate Alex at all. I did not care until this episode. I was just like, whatever. There's nothing between her and Eddie anyway when she was first introduced in 908. I did not. She was a Nothingburger character to me.
Even if she became a love interest, I still wouldn't hate her because of that. I just hate her for how she did Abigail dirty and how she's bad at her job.
No, she did Abigail.
Eddie
so
kind of
dirty.
has stood her up at her job like multiple times now.
Like at least 4 times.
It's kind of embarrassing.
That's a good motive. I'm just saying.
But like I was saying, she was there basically the whole episode. So like at the auction, I mean, she's not there at the auction, but I think we all kind of assumed that she might, end up showing up, or we thought in the moment that like she could have been the mystery bidder on the phone before we found out who it was.
To think that.
They sure did.
The misdirects.
They set it up purposefully because if she was intended to be a love interest for Eddie, that would have been a perfect opportunity, the moment to take it out of like the professional colleague sphere and into something a little more like personal. But they didn't do that.
It would have been the easiest way to set up that new romantic interest for him, especially with like, see how they did it with Almost Nothing with May and Ravi. And there was a little bit more, I mean, there were no sparks, but there was interaction. So it would have made sense if that's what they were going to do and like go in that direction, that they would have done that.
Even then, if they did that, I still feel like Eddie would have to comply and do the whole date thing.
Well,
It's still like, even he would be like weirded the fuck out, I think.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He's like I've been trying to say I'm not interested. And then out of nowhere, you just come in and you're interested and you bid on me. Like
if it was him texting her and saying, please bid on me so I don't have to go on a date with a stranger, then I think that would have been
because he
par
would have
for
been
the course for what we've seen with him dating women from the past. It's someone he's interacted with a couple times, must be dating material.
Yeah. But even if like let's say Eddie wasn't texting her, but like even if they did have Alex come in and bid on him and like win, that still presents an opportunity for Eddie to go on a date with her, shut it down at that point too, if he wouldn't be interested more like explicitly. So like they still could have done that, but they chose not to. And that's interesting.
Yeah, no, it's very purposeful. And it's like another misdirect in an episode, actually a couple episodes of misdirects, which is very fun.
Fun for us. We love being on the edge of our seats.
Yeah.
There's the part where at the beginning of the episode, Chimney's like, say more words, because he doesn't know what the fuck sizzle and spark means. And then when he's like, it's a bachelor auction, he's like, say less words. And
he's
starts
like,
walking away.
Not goodbye.
This man does not want to date women or be auctioned off, like in his own words, a slab of beef. He does not want to perform in the auction. He wants no fucking part of that. So that's just continuing what we've been seeing since we started. He hasn't even looked at a woman in a year in 907. So love that.
Yeah, basically just like refer to our 907 episode and also our queer coding
episode. Yeah. Because I'm so proud of our little baby boy who was like, I just hate being forced to date. Feels like I have to perform. And he was like, you know what? I actually don't have to be forced to date anymore because I'm an adult with free will.
And
I'm not going to do it anymore.
And adult money.
And adult money that he doesn't actually have. That's a payday loan. I'm so sorry.
Listen, desperate times call for desperate measures.
Worth every penny. To not date a woman. So funny.
I'm sure it is worth every penny.
Then there's something in the look that he gives Buck when Buck basically calls him sexy. There's
it's
something
gay
like
panic.
All of the looks that he's giving him, like when Buck shows up, he's like, how did you know I was here? But then he's just like, yeah, no, comforted that you're here. I don't know, but the bombastic look that he gives him, I don't know, man. To me, I don't think that's about the auction. I think that's about, what the fuck did you say to me?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think a little bit Eddie might have been, he's been shot at before. Like he takes things like a champ. I think he might have played up the black eye a little bit for Buck just in maybe some hopes of like, oh no, you have to sit out the auction. Then he'll be like, oh darn, what a shame. And then when that doesn't work, he's like, what did you say to me? Like, I still have to do it. And also, like, what did you say to me?
Maybe. For me, I was like, he's not even thinking about the auction right now because he just went through an experience.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, Buck is here. He just shows up to support me. That makes sense. Like, why would his first thought be Buck is here to terrorize me about the auction?
It isn't until Buck says... We can still market that. Sell this as sexy. So
it's like, now you're looking at me like a slab of beef too? Betrayal.
Actually, yeah.
I mean,
how dare you, actually?
He's been doing that for 8 years, my guy.
No, but now they met. But now it's like verbally in his face.
That's the first time that he's ever called Eddie attractive to Eddie, exactly. I think.
Yeah.
I think every other time has been like announcing it to the group or Eddie's not there. Like
as like an objective fact.
Yeah. Like it's always been like indirect. Like in 201, we get when it's like, well, it wasn't you, Buck. And he's like, well, congratulations. Cause like very obviously he's the next attractive person, right? Or in, I forget which episode, is it 206? Whichever episode they're helping Maddie move in. Yeah.
Yeah.
206. And she's like, he's really like cute. And it's like, you should see his kid because he's like, obviously the cute person in the room is Eddie.
Like Buck has acknowledged like how attractive Eddie is before.
But he's never
to Eddie.
said it to Eddie.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
So interesting.
Growth, I guess, but also just the cognitive dissonance of him just still not realizing anything is driving me fucking bonkers.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not talking about Buck right now. We're supposed to be talking about Eddie. So sorry.
Same thing.
But anyway, from Eddie's point of view, I think a large majority of that face is just like, we don't call each other sexy. That was wild.
That was something.
You just said that to me, to my face.
My black and blue face.
Yep.
And I think you have one more.
Do I?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. The best one. One of the best ones. Oh my God. This moment.
You know, we've been saying that Eddie's closet is glass. It's not even the closet anymore. It's not even glass. There's actually no walls because it's a coat rack, guys. It's a fucking coat rack.
Remember how
the closet is a coat rack? The closet is a coat rack.
Is a coat rack. Start crying.
Remember how we said, I think in the live stream or something, that like Buck is leaning on the doors of that closet. There are no doors.
He just keeps putting more coats on
and leaning on the coat rack. That's one day is going to roll away from him and he's gonna fall.
He's just gonna tumble out.
Yeah.
The way he was sitting in there, he looked like one apple tall. It was so adorable.
He did.
I'm like,
he was hiding. He was hiding.
Okay, gay boy.
Which Eddie doesn't normally do.
Hiding. Fucking coat rack turnout coats. It's the funniest shit this show has ever done objectively, actually.
Yeah. No, we watched that and we were like, wait, that's a closet, right?
Hey, if we get him hiding in a closet in 913 for whatever reason because they're being chased down by some crazy psycho person.
I don't know, fruit cellar somewhere.
The fruit cellar.
We'll get there.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. We're coming off of the heels of 907, all the other shit we just talked about, but like especially looking at the dating, not wanting to date women, showing no interest in Alex at any turn where it could have been, bidding on himself. And you have him texting Maddie to say, please bid on me, for me, I'll pay you money. Oh yes, plus a fee. And he's doing this while he's hiding.
She's driving a bargain for him. Like,
yeah, in a makeshift closet. That's intentional as fuck. There's just no way. Why do they have him in that fucking coat rack?
So I want to know then if that was specifically written in the script or if that was a director choice.
Or props. I don't know. I don't know who makes these decisions. I would assume that would be something that would be written in the script, but I don't know.
I mean, the dialogue would be for sure, but the director could choose like where to have that take place.
But it could have just been like hiding under a dressing table or just like sitting in a corner or doing anything else normal that isn't hiding in a fucking coat rack, aka a closet.
It's a very specific choice.
Yes, and the thing is, like, I could believe either that was Molly and James's idea or Aisha's idea. So like either way, brilliance.
Yeah, that's just, I'm sorry. To me, what that's giving, like narratively, is that, yes, we know he's in the closet, but he's very close to tumbling out of that bitch. Like, just a stiff knock because it's
there are no doors.
No,
he can come out whenever he wants.
Yep.
Yeah. I love that so much. Whoever's decision that was, just like, let us send you a fruit basket, an edible arrangement. We have so many we need to buy.
Incredible.
Crazy. I love Crazy Girl Eddie. He's my favorite.
Yes! Character of all time.
Oh my God.
Honestly.
He's the wild cardness of Eddie Diaz. Honestly, you just don't know what you're gonna get sometimes.
No, it's all good.
Again, character of all time, right up there next to Dean Winchester for me.
He either finds himself in situations or he's making situations. Like, it's one or the other.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah.
All right. So my addition to queer Eddiemaxxing. Eddie trying to avoid being auctioned off. Several times, actually. First with like asking, please, can I write a check to the orphans and widows? And May's like, not unless it's got a comma in it.
He's a bet.
No, he went through the entire auction and had Maddie. Is that the new ship name?
Oh my God.
And had Maddie bet on him, and he ends up spending an amount of money that had a comma in it.
Mm-hmm.
You should have just written the check right then and there for $2,500, $1,000.
That's all he had to do.
That's all he had to do.
He didn't have to do the most, but he did.
And also the dialogue in the makeshift closet, because Buck sees that he's hiding in there texting. He's like, "What? Get off your phone. The auction's about to start." And Eddie's like, "Yeah, that's why I'm texting." And he's like, and then Buck's like, "What? You're gonna like call in are you gonna call in a bomb threat or something?" And then Eddie's like, "You think that would work?"
He takes it so seriously. He's like, actually, why didn't I think of that?
That actually would have been cheaper too.
Yeah, but he would have gone to jail.
It would have been a crime.
Athena would have helped, maybe, probably.
Oh, she would.
Calling a bomb. You know what? It's better. It's better this way. He did what he had to do, because calling it a bomb threat, Athena would have been roasting his ass more than just the "you bought yourself at an auction." Yeah.
That she found amusing. The bomb threat,
she might not.
No,
she would not.
Okay, so when Buck is finally up there on the stage, Eddie does this face. Actually, the camera cuts to him like 4 different times, but like he's just making faces. Like he claps at first, but then he's just making faces. So I have to say, if it was really supposed to be platonic, I think Eddie like should have been more like, "Yeah, go Buck," like Chimney was. You know, like Chimney was very supportive of Buck and Eddie, well, of everyone actually.
Yeah.
But he was just like capital E entranced, capital A and awe, like kind of mesmerized and somewhat annoyed a little bit.
And Harry and Ravi also are reacting differently too, because Harry's like, "I didn't know we could do a multimedia presentation," and Ravi's like, he gets all these bids for his stupid little video. Like he's just like, "Come on," and Eddie's just completely different from everyone else's. For why?
He's not. The only comment that he makes is the shameless.
Yeah.
Which kind of rightfully so, and I'll explain that one. But still, entranced, capital E entranced. So I felt like this was like low key, maybe high key, or totally a kind of like a role reversal to 201.
Ooh. I see that.
So, you know, in 201, you have Buck turning around to see Eddie, who's, you know, putting his shirt back on, actually. But it's like that slow-mo cut, and it's the, like, you know,
what a man.
And the what a man, and all of that. And it's also like, when you think about it, that is Buck's POV shot of Eddie. And then we have, so with Eddie, it's kind of like, and I feel like put this in the Buddiemaxxing section, so bear with me. But for Eddie, it's more like, well, it's kind of like Buck is in his element right now. He's accepted himself for who he is. But the thing is, Eddie has seen that consistently throughout, and but now he gets to see that that Buck is going for, you know, he really is going to go for that 8K. Like, it's actually a thing that has happened. He gets to witness that, but it's also like all of these things that how he's being marketed as, which are all consistently true. It's just there, and it's kind of like oh my God, you know, like just this, like, again, entranced in awe. I can't, it's really hard to put words into that, but that look is just very entranced, like, whoa. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a couple of interesting shots too in here. So there's a specific shot of Eddie in the center, surrounded by the women, like, you know, with their paddles up and betting on Buck, but he's just looking at him. But there is also like the position of his arm. It's very interesting because I'm sure it's like on a chair, but it's artistically, visually, it could be like, I want to put my paddle up, but I can't.
Oh, that's interesting.
And then there's another part in, you know, during Buck's little performance where the auction host is like, and most importantly, and then it cuts to Eddie. He's an uncle to his niece and nephew, which I think that it's so like, Buck is a baker, Buck can cook, and most importantly, he's great with kids. It's like all the things that I feel like Eddie would want in a partner too. And especially the kids part because Christopher, you know?
And then I think the last little bit in Queer Eddiemaxxing is the ending voiceover from Hen was so interesting. I think anytime they do a voiceover monologue is very important to pay attention to. And so much of this one was about identity, right? And change or like finding a new aspect of your identity or growing into yourself. So when Hen says there are new challenges, new adventures, and new versions of us, and that's being said between cutting from Buck with his new best friends in knitting club to Eddie with Abigail. And I think the monologue goes, who we are isn't who we were yesterday or who we have to be tomorrow. And I think that's when it was on Eddie waving goodbye to Abigail. And I think that's really interesting that that was chosen at that point in the monologue to put that over, because so much of, you know, what we're interpreting as queer Eddie is he doesn't have to be the same person he was. And it's all about like discovering a new part of yourself. Doesn't mean that you're not the same person you were yesterday. You're just like an enhanced version or something like that. So I'm not explaining this very well, but like just the shots that they ended up choosing for specific lines in this monologue where it was Eddie and it was very focused on who we are isn't who we were yesterday or who we have to be tomorrow. Like a lot of change in identity and self-identification. That's just interesting. Something to keep in mind.
Okay, time for Buddiemaxxing. Not that we haven't already been basically breaking Buddy news. Said it in the last section, but Buck calls Eddie sexy to his face. Crazy.
The way that Buck looks him up and down as he's delivering this line is crazy. Yeah, we can market that. We can sell this as sexy. Looks at the entirety of Eddie when it's just like, you could have just been looking at the eye, you know. Did you have to really take it all in?
No, he was imagining him in turnouts in the white tank, oiled up. He was like, no, yeah, I see the vision. I'm going to make the vision come true.
Yeah, it was that classic, like, Buck kind of flirty, like, look you down, look you up, that kind of.
Yes, which we've seen him do to Eddie.
So many times.
And
then again in the auction, like we mentioned, Eddie looking around as Buck is up for auction and seeing Buck not only meet but surpass his previous like record breaking pay. What do we call this?
Bid.
And it's so interesting because like here we have Eddie just like watching Buck presenting himself as Buck, whatever version this is now, the version that Buck likes, who's a family guy and a baker. And Eddie is seeing people see Buck for who Buck actually is, as opposed to people who have very much in the past seen Buck as at face value or like just the value of his body, which I think is what they were really contrasting and comparing to with Buck's first auction appearance, where it was very just like he did the Buck flip. He just looked like super suave and cool, and people just like, it was nothing about who Buck is as a person. And I think Eddie, who we know sees Buck truly, has the opportunity now to like see, oh, everybody else is seeing this now too.
Mm-hmm. So I thought it was really funny. If you guys watched Ryan and Oliver's first tweet video back when it came out in May of 2025, there's a tweet. It's just so funny because it basically like beat for beat goes, every wife deserves a man like Buck. He cooks, he bakes, he's good with the children. So that's already beat for beat at the auction.
Mm-hmm.
He video calls you while he's at work and you're at home bored. Eddie Diaz, you are one lucky girl. So it's just very interesting that it kind of like, it felt like a nod a little bit, maybe. But I say that loosely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's also just really funny, like as you know, Buck is being paraded around to get the bids. Sil noticed this last night, that in the background of a couple shots, there is a very blurry Eddie, like deep in the background, who is like so gobsmacked at the fact that he gets to see Buck go for $8,002. Like he's sitting there with hands on his head, like, oh my God. And it's like, Eddie's not like the focus of that shot, but you can see it in the background if you like pause and enhance.
Oh my God. Yeah. I don't know. It was one of those 5 a.m., 4 a.m. thingies that happened to me where I'm just like, let me scrub through the episode. Let me look for, is that Eddie? And then I just see arms on the head, bandage, white tank top. And I'm like, oh my God, Rachel confirmed, because I'm not sure. It's one of those things that you really need a magnifying glass to catch, I guess. Don't ask me. I'm just crazy. But also, I will say, who knows? Because like, it's not a shot that was used in the episode to frame, like, you know, to give focus on Eddie. Like they didn't use that, but it was still there.
But
it's
they're
like
in character and acting.
But they're in character and acting. So like, what was the acting choice? What are we doing? You know, it's just interesting if they didn't, you know, it would have been interesting if they did intentionally use that. But I think that would have changed a little bit. Some of basically what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Han.
I don't know. We've kind of covered this already, but kind of, I guess, to dig deeper into it. The couple looks that we intentionally get full frame focus of Eddie reacting to Buck while he's strutting his stuff on the catwalk. It's definitely a case of his possessiveness jumping out. Like we were, I think right after we got done with our live stream on Thursday night, we were on the phone still, as we do, and talking about this. And I was like, what's the difference? And I was like, oh my God, the difference is that this has never been the situation that Eddie has ever had to deal with before. And he's never felt threatened by any of Buck's love interests or the people interested in Buck or people flirting with Buck. You know what I mean? Like we just saw him at a club not being like threatened by or the two people he dated. There was no like real possessiveness happening other than like spend time with me. Yeah, like we're here to focus on me, you know what I mean? But it wasn't like, you know, him making eyes at anyone flirting with him. So I think that's because every person has only ever gone after Buck because of how he looks, because he's hot, because he's a hot firefighter, and because of the kind of persona that like he gives off and not who Buck really is once you get to know him. And that's always kind of, that person has always belonged to Eddie. Yeah. Like since he's known him. But if you haven't heard us say this before, like we don't ascribe to jealous Eddie. We think Buck is jealous and Eddie is possessive. They're completely different. They're, you know, different sides of the same coin. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's just like, it's literally a fucking multimedia presentation, as Harry says, of why Buck is Eddie's dream man. It's just like, here's why this man is your best friend and your co-parent, but now he's using this saying, oh, he's changed his wild ways and he's ready to settle down with that special person. Yeah. And all of these women are like, oh my God, take all my fucking money. And he's there like having some kind of moment, several moments of just like, I don't know, all of the emotions flitting behind his eyes are kind of crazy. And like the closest look we have to that is in 809 when he's like, you really did that for me. And it's, we also don't ascribe to the Eddie already knows his feelings camp
No.
We don't think that moment has happened.
We don't think that he knows that he's gay.
No.
Like, that stuff's buried so deep.
But I meant his feelings for Buck.
Yeah.
I think they're separate things because I think he absolutely could realize he has feelings for Buck.
Me too.
Realize
Me too. Just as you were saying.
That's true.
Like, that would come first, and then he's like, okay, I gotta work through this.
Yeah, but we don't think that he at this point realizes either of those things.
No. But I do think there was a tweet that I saw on the timeline before we started recording, because like people keep posting the GIF with the couple faces that he's making, and people are like, oh, he so knows, like he knows that he's in love, blah 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 blah. And I'm just like, oh, I don't ascribe to these. But someone said this is the first time we've seen Eddie actually want someone. And I'm like, oh, now that I can get behind. And it's not even like a conscious thing. He's not sitting there going, oh my God, I want him. It's literally just a like, I don't know, some behind part of his brain. You know what I mean? Where it's like the possessive, like that's mine. Yeah. Why are all of these people bidding on him?
Yeah, because he's seeing everybody see and want Buck for like what he knows he has Buck for.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it's very like subconscious, deep rooted. He doesn't even realize maybe the faces that he's making.
Oh, he absolutely doesn't. But yeah, because it's completely different from how we see him reacting in like 907 when it's like, that's Buck. Because it's like, he knows that Buck is charming. He knows that Buck can pull. Like, he knows that Buck can pick up anyone he wants. And that's fine. And he has no problems with that. And like, he's egged him on in the past. He's teased him in the past. But that was not any of the behavior we saw of Eddie at the auction once Buck is on stage. Like, the closest we get is Shameless. Like, and like Syl said, that's not really, it's not really like ribbing. It's not, we know what it sounds like when Eddie razzes him, and this is not it.
No. So like the Shameless comment, I mean, face value of it, Buck did market his best one of his best qualities is being good with the kids.
Yep.
He exploited the children. He really did.
He pulled those cards.
For the children.
He exploited the children for the children. Oh, that's smart, actually.
He really did shake his ass for the orphans.
You know, and there were no children's faces in there.
Oh my God.
It was the baby face down asleep. Like, it was proper.
Yep.
It's approved by Maddie and Chim, I'm sure.
But it's also kind of like, even that comment, just like the way that he's delivering it, it's like, this is my husband is a shameless flirt. You know what I mean? It's giving that, but it's also because like
still endeared.
It's endeared, but he's like absolutely shameless. But it's also because, again, like I think kind of what we said, and I probably said earlier, but like what Han just said as well. You know, these are Buck's charming qualities. Eddie has experienced those qualities since day one.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, you know, Eddie, I mean, Buck being there for Christopher, helping him, Christopher, baking stuff for Eddie, cooking dinner for Eddie and Chris. Those have been presented to him and has worked for him.
Yeah.
Whether he knows it or not. Yeah. Subconsciously, that just works for him.
Mm-hmm.
So the song that plays in the montage in his multimedia presentation is Moby's Porcelain, and terrifying music video, just by the way.
Terrifying? Ooh. Terrifying in what way?
It's like a lot of close-ups of eyeballs. I don't like it.
That's not for me.
There's babies and shit. I don't like faces and shit in the eyeball. It's very conceptual.
Yeah, Moby is conceptual like that.
I love Moby. I just don't want to see his music video.
No.
Yeah, I think these lyrics don't play while the auction is happening. I think it's like while the montage is happening. But I think maybe some Buddy forecast, because I don't know, we're supposed to believe that this is the song that Buck picked for his multimedia presentation. Anyway, verse 2 says, in my dreams, I'm jealous all the time. When I wake, I'm going out of my mind. Just interesting.
Huh. And we saw so many dreams in the episode before.
Yeah, I mean, it's about dreaming. I mean, the first verse is very like season 8. In my dreams, I'm dying all the time. Then I wake, it's kaleidoscopic mind. I never meant to hurt you. I never meant to lie. So this is goodbye.
Oh, no.
And then the bridge is, tell the truth. You've never wanted me. Just very interesting choice for your multimedia presentation. Like, I know it's there for the vibes of the instrumental part, but like,
why is that giving something with dreams, something with NDE?
jealous all the time. When I wake, I'm going out of my mind. Like it's giving very much Buck's subconscious.
Yes. Like I don't really believe we'll see another like dream coma sort of thing for either Buck or Eddie, but like I think we were like, was it last year or early this year season that we were like a sliding doors concept?
That was last year.
That's kind of what this song sounds like to me. It's like seeing another alternate version where like Buck and Eddie are together, and like, but like I don't know how they would do that if not for like coma dream, you know, which like I don't necessarily want to do again because the first time was like so impactful. But anyways, so that's kind of what that's giving to me. Weird.
Yeah, it's really just an interesting choice for Buck and for music department.
Because they always pick very particular songs.
They do. And I was like, I know this Moby song like instrumentally, but I was like, I have no idea what the fucking words are, which is like every Moby song, I think, for the most part for me. Because it's like I like listening to Moby, but he is very much a like put on the background in a party. Like that's how I've listened to Moby. So just very interesting choice there.
Huh. All right, so some other breaking buddy news. We've got Buck being Eddie's first call when he realizes that Christopher's gone missing. We also have like Buck being like super supportive on the phone and kind of even talking him down a little bit. So he's being his partner and co-parent. Other stuff to include to that is Buck is, you know, on Eddie's side rightfully after learning that Abigail took Chris, even though obviously the intentions were the intentions. But he's also talking to Eddie like, you know, you're allowed to be angry, because he would also be angry and that he was angry. So it was kind of like, you know, being supportive, feel your feelings, talk it out kind of way.
Well, I mean, that's just another thing that we see of Buck being kind of positioned as this other parent figure for Christopher, because in the gym, when Buck is like, you're allowed to be angry, I would be angry too, and then says, I am angry, because he's putting himself in that subconscious, like he's not purposefully doing it, but like he's looking at it as if Christopher were his own as well. And it's just like one of those many things of positioning Buck in that role, specifically with Christopher, but also in the way that like he is marketing himself as like a good family man during the auction.
Yeah.
And it's also because he's had so many years of practice doing that with Eddie and Christopher.
Yeah. All right. Next, I have Buck immediately. So Buck goes to the hospital after learning that Eddie was injured from Harry. So a couple of takeaways from here. So like Eddie, for example, doesn't ask, what are you doing here? Instead, he asks, how did you know I was here? Which is like more welcoming and like, and for me, like the implication means like, yeah, he was going to tell him after he got out or when he had the chance, because I'm sure like all the things, there were too many things happening. He's probably talking to police. He's getting taken care of. There's like not enough time. So like,
didn't have anything to do with Christopher. So Buck was on his first call.
Yeah, that too. Okay, so Eddie before like Buck arrives is, you know, like Eddie kind of just like drops like the I'm fine facade once Buck gets there. Like he wanted Buck to like fuss over him a little bit. His demeanor does kind of change once Buck is there. It's kind of like, oh, my partner and I feel more safe, because like, I mean, you have Alex, you have Athena. They're not the ones that he's gonna like really turn for comfort to.
Like his guard drops a little bit.
Yeah, but then like how we said this previously, Buck is like, nah, we can use your black eye to our advantage. It's sexy. And then Eddie's like, what the fuck? Because he's not literally thinking about the auction at all.
Yeah, of course not.
And then there's Buck, who immediately zeroes in, runs to Eddie. He's barely acknowledging Athena. Like it was the bare minimum for Athena, and straight up ignoring Alex's presence because he has priorities.
After Buck is backstage while Eddie does his thing for being bid on, and they cut to Buck, like I think at the end, like after like it's like going once, going twice, sold for, you know, $2,500 to the mystery bidder, and Buck's just like, the fuck is happening? And like looks in behind him, which is just a room full of men, which this probably should have gone in. Maybe I don't know, because I don't know, that's weird. Why are you looking behind you? Who do you think is there other than a room full of men?
Why did he think that he could suss out someone backstage?
I don't know. I also wonder if this is going to maintain as something that everyone but him knows, or if he's going to find out. Because everyone else was at the table and they all know, but he doesn't know that Maddie bid on him for Eddie to pay for it himself, because he'll never stop making fun of him for that.
Maybe it's a secret that they'll try to keep. Try is the operative word, because you still have Chimney.
I think maybe it'd be cute if that secret came out at the same time that Buck slept with Tommy.
Ooh.
In Eddie's house. I just think it'd be fun. We share secrets.
That would be funny.
But then we also have a hen in the voiceover at the end. And she's saying this for May and Ravi, but like, I don't know. Could be buddy shaped. Could be foreshadowing. Passing friendships stop to catch our gaze. And suddenly, who knew?
And isn't that on... Did you say that was mostly like on...
It's May and Ravi.
May and Ravi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, that has implications.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Like you could...
Especially stop to catch our gaze. Like, Eddie was gazing.
Uh-huh.
Emphasis on like, gay.
Hey, you know where they were also gazing in each other's eyes and, you know, all of that, but it got interrupted by none other than Ravi in 818. The building rescue.
Oh, yeah. Would you say that Eddie was looking at Buck right in front of him?
Uh-huh.
Up on that stage?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yet again?
Are we doing parallels now?
I guess that's our intro to parallels.
There we go. There's our first parallel. So with the black eye, I think we all kind of thought of the visual parallel to when Buck has a black eye and Eddie goes and makes sure that Buck is okay and does like, you know, keep the ice pack on. So like ice goes on the eye bud. Like it's kind of a very like reverse of that, right? Where Buck is now like trying to make sure that Eddie's okay for the auction, but you know, also okay generally.
I know that was in season 5. I just forgot what episode it was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I already talked about this a little bit, but this episode is a little bit can be applied as a 201 reversal for Eddie. Because again, Buck was there. He got to see Eddie in his all perfection glory in 201. And was feeling a certain type of way. Many ways, probably. That now, like maybe in hindsight, hopefully one day he's going to be like, oh, that's why. And then we have 9/11 again, Buck being marketed as perfect husband material, and Eddie has to watch all these other women bet on Buck that he has seen be technically perfect husband material for him. There.
See, it was beautiful.
In 907, we have Eddie's look after Buck says, I'm not going to leave your side. And that's Buck versus in episode 11, where Eddie's looking at Buck while he's on the stage. And it's very like intentional framing that they're doing of capturing Eddie's face and the way that he looks at Buck. And it has changed, continued to change and evolve since 809.
Oh, yeah. Interesting acting choices. Yeah.
I mean, interesting framing.
And framing and acting choices. Just so interesting.
Yeah. In 905, how we have Buck finding the room that Abigail is locked in and how that was kind of the closet, but specifically like Buck finding it and kind of like breaking that case wide open. And then in episode 11, Buck finding Eddie hiding in the coat rack makeshift closet. It's just that's kind of interesting, and maybe bonus parallel to Buck breaking down Eddie's bedroom door when he had his panic attack in 513. So just like how Buck always finds these people and kind of like breaking down their walls.
Yeah, I think it's symbolic of Buck's gonna help Eddie realize he's gay, because Buck does not have gaydar. No.
It's like helping break down the closet or break down the walls. Yeah. And actually, you know, now that you said walls, I think the 809, hey, what if we tear down this wall down? Yes. Yeah, that should also be included in here.
Yeah, like so much of that is specifically like Buck and Eddie, but just like the fact that Abigail was, thrown in there too for like her little like closet space.
Yeah. Yeah. And because she's also the Eddie mirror proxy as well. Yeah. Actually, now that I think about it, I forgot that I had this whole idea about like the walls between us, Buck and Eddie, like maybe like a little special or something. But like that was the thing, I think, throughout season 8, that there was like some kind of wall between them. Someone's got to break it down, whether it be both of them, one of them. They gotta do something about that wall. Also, the whole like confessional, how they were both on the same side. I mean, different sides of the confessional, so it's kind of like they're talking to each other. Yeah.
Then we have 311, or Eddie says, "What's that saying? You have the family you're born into, and the one you chose." Well, that's what the 118 is, the family we choose. Yeah, 311 just sounds wrong. I know it's right. But it
We've been through this so many times.
And then in 910, Buck says, family isn't just the people you're born to, it's also the people you choose. So obviously there's the broader 118 found family aspect of it, but Buck and Eddie really have shown that they choose each other as like their number one support.
Yeah. All right. Buck and Eddie are once again in separate yet intertwined journeys, which we're solidifying who they are now, right? So in this episode specifically, this episode and paired with like 907, Buck is no longer Buck 1.0 from his Probie days. He's ready to settle down. Basically, again, how he's being marketed in the auction. But like he's also like trying to figure out, not necessarily trying to figure out. I think he knows what he wants. He wants a family. He wants to settle down, and he really likes his new self, which is really the best version of himself right now. That's what I think this episode really is solidifying in his own journey. And Eddie, like, let's take it back to like season 3, because we did do callbacks to season 3 about his anger. So like Eddie is no longer defined by anger. He tries to move forward in life with gentleness, kindness. He has a big heart. He wants to help people. He sees people for who they really are and wants to help. Like, and even when he has like certain outbursts, right? He tries to walk it back. He tries to find a way to fix it, and he's not in that certain headspace that we've seen him in season 3, or like the self-harm with the Fight Club era. So,
the growth.
Yeah. So there's
for both of them is really substantial.
Yeah.
And no, because I think we said this during our live stream after the episode of 11 aired, and we were like, this is exactly what we've been wanting to see, because they both, Buck and Eddie, have to keep growing and reach that like self-actualization individually before they can like come together and have that arc together.
Yeah. And like I mentioned in the live stream, I think I keep going back to the one quote that Ryan said about like, oh, the right partner they have to find themselves first before, they get together, basically. All right. So there's also something to be said about like the main couple reigns being handed over to Buddy after like Bobby died, because I keep saying that Buddy is now the new Athena, which thanks to the parallel between the parallel shots in 803 and 818, which is like, I see you, Athena saying that to Bobby while he's waiting on the fire truck. And then, where are you? Right in front of me. I don't have to explain that one. Furthermore, I think it's interesting now that Athena is now kind of like the matriarch, right? And she's, totally alive and here to witness it a little bit, right? So we have 907, where Buck is like, Athena invited us to the Chimtervention dinner. Like, they are a set, do not separate. And also just like during the dinner, having Athena sit at the head of the table with Buck and Eddie on either side of her, it's just a very reminiscent shot to 817 in the cold open, where Bobby's also at the head of the table and Eddie is on his right and Buck is on his left. So I thought that's still very interesting that they did that here, whether it's intentional or not, but it's just interesting to have Athena in between them. Okay. So in this episode, we have the hospital scene. So, I mean, we don't know if Athena may have told Harry to tell Buck, but it's entirely possible, to tell Buck that he's in the hospital and what had happened. And that's why he comes rushing over. But really, what really is like the important bit to me is like once Buck gets there and, he's visibly worried and he's like rambling off at Eddie, Athena does the thing where she's like putting a very comforting hand on his arm. So I thought that was like a cute little gesture, like hey, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like it's just very comforting. And it's like having to see, you know, a developing relationship, I guess, like maybe in a way. And because she understands being worried for her own partner is my point.
Yeah. Okay. Now I get where you're going with that one.
Yeah.
It's sweet.
Yeah. And also like she's kind of hand wavy after he greets her because like, again, so like Buck is like literally like rambling off to Eddie and then he's like, hi, Athena. But she's like, yeah. And she like hand waves it away. Like, I know you have priorities and you're more worried about him. Like it's understandable.
Like this is not time for catch up.
Yeah, exactly. And okay. And at the auction, again, maybe not intentional, but when you pair her up asking Eddie in an incredulous manner that he bought himself at the auction and her being so close to physically facepalm, to literally do like a facepalm. It's just interesting when Buck is on the stage and Robbie's like, is he going to do a backflip? And Athena's like, well, good thing he's in a room full of medics. And she kind of looks at like Eddie's direction and the camera does cut to Eddie.
Yeah. Well, and Eddie was introduced as
the medic. Yeah.
As he's a medic. So like, that's an interesting tie.
Yeah. And Han mentioned this in the queer Eddiemaxxing part, but it's also kind of interesting that she's also kind of like, oh, is there actually something between you and Alex? You know, well, at the police station. So like she's in their business a little bit. I mean, she has to be, but like some of these things are kind of interesting if she's also there to witness it. And you know how like we're all like, Bobby should officiate the wedding. And now I'm kind of like, maybe Athena
should
officiate the wedding.
Yeah, it's like Athena's kind of using she's like logging details for her detective brain so she can like connect the dots later.
Yeah.
Which I totally think she could.
Yeah.
And then so as we see Buck running to Eddie in the hospital, it's kind of reminiscent of Brawl in Cell Block 911. Yeah, I got the title correct. Where Buck is on the inside of the hospital, but he hears the gunshot and he runs out to like make sure Eddie's okay.
And then 4:14 when he gets the call from Anna and he rushes to the hospital to go see Eddie because he's finally awake.
Oh yeah. Oh, that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. And then we have, I mean, just in general, this whole arc between 907 and 911, I've been saying, hey, let's be patient. The buddy half is coming, basically, is I think what I was trying to say the first couple of episodes of season 9. We just really needed to get through the grief arc and establish the 180 moving forward. So now we've got like buddy stuff, buddy momentum, and some stuff sprinkled in, lots of stuff sprinkled in, some weird, insane dialogue sprinkled in, like the likes of like, yes, sir, Eddie, sir. Or we can sell that as sexy. And chain of command, say chain of command one more time or else what? Crazy shit.
Yeah. The best is yet to come, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
As we've been talking about the auction, I think we've been wondering what's going on in their heads. So we're going to take this time to dive into our Best Buddy segment.
Okay, so shout out to our Best Buddies on Patreon.
So thank you so much to Aaron, Alexandria, Amy, Asha, Aubrey, Christian, Eveline, Gracie, Jane, and Irv.
Joey, Juan, Jules, Kate, Katie, Kenny, Katie, Kenny, Kitty, Quincy, and Maya.
Mishi, Persephone, Poppy, Rebel, Sheila, TJ, Tristy, Vera, and Zachary.
We're about to start a mini segment we picked out for them inside the minds of Eddie and Buck during the auction.
It's exclusive to the Best Buddies tier of Patreon.
So if you'd like to vote and hear special mini segments each episode
and get a personalized shout out, subscribe to our Patreon.
So now we'll go into into the looking glass. I think we wanted to check back in on Eddie's Un-Repression checklist and kind of like progress report there, right?
Right. So I think when did I introduce this? Was it 907 special?
I think it was
or 5
earlier. I think it was 5 or like that's when it was starting to like cook.
My brain was starting to cook. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you guys haven't heard, there is an Un-Repression checklist where, you know, like we're bringing back past storylines for Eddie to kind of just be unrepressed that we're working through, like some issues that we're working through. So with the reintroduction of Abigail in these 2 episodes, I think it really helped touch upon the false narrative that Eddie's an angry person, some parental and childhood trauma, how he is as a parent, and even a little bit of the sexuality with the tie-in of Alex, which we talked about in our queer Eddiemaxxing section. So you already heard all that. We don't need to talk about it again. All right. So like Abigail is a Eddie mirror proxy parallel, like she's got parallels to Eddie, but I do want to talk about her parallels with Buck a little bit before we go on with the Eddie stuff, because I thought it was just very interesting. They did have a moment, you know, when Buck tells her, hey, you know, like family isn't blood related. It's also the family you choose, yada, yada, yada. You know, it's like in a similar position to Buck. She's kind of in that similar position a little bit, but there's other parallels. So like initially we've got like the hero worship over Eddie, got abandonment issues with like blood related family. So like, for example, one of the things that I caught on really early on was like the whole, once Abigail turned 18, the foster care system said, here's a birthday card, here's money, go to your grandma's, right? And then
bye.
And then grandma was like, here's my car, bye. So I had like the idea of like I was under the impression that maybe Abigail's grandmother, I don't know from which side I'm just hoping that maybe there's someone blood related for her, but like I think at the time I was hoping, but it appears like no. But at the time when I was thinking about like the parallels to Buck, I was like, oh, so Abigail's grandma, like maybe her gesture was misunderstood, kind of like how Maddie gave the Jeep to Buck and told him, here's freedom. So like Abigail's grandma with the symbolism of the car, here's freedom. But hey, we circle back to that actually, because Eddie at the end of the episode kind of does something similar by giving her like the tools for freedom, like additional tools. So like money, snacks. It gives her the opportunity to, again, go on the open road, like a map as well, go on the open road and find that freedom, like getting her away from this awful situation. It wasn't just like, here's my car and go. So like Eddie is kind of like Abigail's Maddie a little bit.
Ooh.
And then there's like, you know, there's parallels in between like Abby and Buck, where like she wants to help Eddie with Christopher. It was very misguided, but Buck does, you know, initially with bringing like Chris to the firehouse and bringing Carla to help out as like, you know, a caretaker for Christopher. Abigail tried to put herself in that position of like, hey, I'm going to pick him up from school because you were upset that you couldn't do it and you're really busy. So I'm going to try to help by bringing Christopher from school, picking him up, which again, misguided because she didn't tell him. And it was just like not the best way to go with things, but there could have been potential. But yeah, there were a lot of parallels to Buck and Abigail. I feel like they could have, but you know, this is more for Eddie's storyline anyway. They could have like touched upon more.
But that kind of like in relation to how this fits with Eddie's Un-Repression checklist, right? That kind of falls under parenting, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting then that like the way that Eddie was able to help, or like he was trying to help her out and then like actually ended up doing, it's kind of like how he wishes that he could have been supported when he was her age. And like you said, given the necessary like tools to escape this like cycle.
Yeah.
And something about that of Eddie giving Abigail like the supplies for the road trip, like she already had the car, which so closely symbolizes freedom. Like this map to take her like anywhere is kind of like a map to finding herself and finding her identity. And that kind of seems like a parallel journey to what Eddie is going on, especially as a parent in this as well. And we also like Christopher was riding the bus because he wanted freedom. So there's a lot. This is kind of going into like road trip theory, like road trip meta theory equals freedom, which I also kind of wrote about too. I wrote a tweet about how Eddie going on a road trip potentially from like in like 913 and driving is like a metaphor for freedom as well. So Eddie kind of like letting Abigail go on her way to find herself. If we're going back to like the Abigail and the Abigail and Eddie parallels, it's kind of like Eddie giving himself permission to like find himself along the way.
Yeah.
As well, right?
Yeah. So like, which also is again, like Abigail being that mirror for him or that proxy. It's kind of like, you know, she's a proxy for healing himself. And like part of that is forgiving himself. And there's also like a tie into that where she's like, please forgive me which again, like Han said during the queer Eddiemaxxing section, where like Eddie does see her, but in this like surface level of seeing her, like so he knew that she was gonna, like, it was already implied, it was very obvious, but like he had gut instincts of like he knew she was going to do something crazy or stupid, which is what he likes to do. He likes to perform actions of martyrdom. So she was going to sacrifice herself for him. He's done the same thing for his own family.
Yeah.
And it's sacrificing himself in like multiple senses of the word, like in the line of duty, his friends, his family, providing for his family. So like, therefore, like forgiving her or saving her, it's like he's saving like a part of himself, if that makes sense. Because again, like it's a proxy in a way.
I also think he thought that she was going to literally hurt herself.
That too, yes. Well, yeah. Which again, it's like, hey, Eddie did Fight Club. That was stupid. He hurt himself doing that.
And he was high key schmoosh in season 5.
I mean, we talked about how him doing Fight Club was his way of like self-harm.
Yeah, but I meant like season 5 with the breakdown. Yeah. And he was like, why am I alive?
Yeah.
Everyone else is dead. Why am I here?
And it's also like sacrificing yourself is like, I guess, passive suicidal.
But it's seen as noble.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, which is Eddie's MO. So
yeah. And then I guess it's also just she's sacrificing her freedom to protect him, just to make sure that her father isn't going to hurt him in any way, or like, yeah, a lot going on for these two martyrs. Okay, so touching on the Eddie and anger, there are very direct callbacks to season 3. But in this episode, like Eddie's able to display that anger doesn't like overpower him anymore. It doesn't define him anymore, and hasn't since at least season 3 is like the biggest one. And then everything is kind of like slowly but surely, you know, he's able to work on himself. And he says this, like he was able to work on himself with time, his friends, family, therapy, but he was still there. He still went to it.
He did show up.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he was working on himself, but he had that support system to help him move through it.
Yeah. And in this episode, he was presented with several opportunities to be angry, but like he immediately like tries to rein it back. And I think we also see that a lot in season 8 as well, like with the with the kitchen fight, because like he's like, oh shit, I'm gonna bring my son in to you know, to help with Buck, because I know I was an asshole. I was that was the dick that was being mean to you. So yeah,
it's just so interesting that we're seeing this brought to the forefront so intentionally, like touching back on Eddie and anger, because it does reference to your like Un-Repression checklist, and the attorney for Abigail's parents wanting to paint Eddie as an angry and a violent man, and how Eddie's like, I used to be, but I'm not anymore. And taking that like accountability is such a step forward for him too, because it's like he's not holding on to as much guilt about that either, which is really important. And the whole thing about Eddie being an quote unquote angry man, all of that anger, we've said many times, is more directed at himself than anyone else, but it just kind of like bursts out sometimes. So like when he's confronting Abigail about her bringing Christopher home without his knowledge, he does kind of like burst out because he's angry. And that one's fair, because as a parent, that's just not something you want to deal with, and says like what she did was not okay. And it comes out harsh, but because he's reacting in fear, that's what makes him like his hackles like rise up. But immediately he reins it back in, and he regrets bursting out at her like that, because he knows that she didn't mean any harm towards it. He was just scared and angry about it. But then he ends up being more angry at himself for taking it out on her, even though like he was within a right to do it. But it's like he's gotten such good control management over his anger that it's not controlling him any longer. And it really shows in the way that he composes himself after he talked to Abigail and wanting to make it right by helping her so much.
Yeah. So like this episode really like highlights that he hasn't, it's been a long time, I would say, that he's had certain reactions. And it's also the meta commentary on like how the fandom, majority of the fandom like views him and doesn't like see him for who he really is. They just see like the angry, the bursting out, and it's such a bad read of his character. So I really hope that this episode may change some minds. But yeah, it really does highlight like his big heart, kindness, and that he's not that person anymore. And he was given the opportunity to express anger at her through Buck, but he does, like you said, like he turns it on himself instead, angry at himself because he feels like he made her feel worthless. Especially when she had no one. And I think we mentioned this earlier, like it kind of makes you think about how many times Eddie, during his teenage years, how many times Eddie has been made to feel worthless with the Diazes, especially when he was trying to do something to help his parents. Notably, we mentioned this one, but it's like driving Helena to the hospital and Ramon ripping him to shreds for crashing his truck, you know, like things like that. Probably he got a lot of shit for dropping out of the ballroom dancing. Hot wiring cars to drive his friends around. And I mean, those things weren't to help his parents, but like, I mean, overall, we already know the Diazes have consistently have made him feel like garbage, especially when it comes to parenting Christopher. So this was his way of like helping someone else who
experienced the same
thing. Yeah.
Because essentially it's the same thing, like different in physicality maybe, but like mentally.
Yeah. Ooh. Circumstances, all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's your update for the Un-Repression checklist. So we're dealing we dealt with anger, we dealt with some parental trauma, we dealt with fatherhood, we dealt with all of that. And I'm sure we still have more to touch upon and bring up.
Oh yeah. But progress is being made.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're at the part where we discuss what we know about what's coming next. And we actually, a lot of times I feel like we know nothing about what's coming next. We actually have some information for these next like handful of episodes, which is kind of a leg up than what we normally have.
Because normally it's Rachel going,
which I hope you enjoy, but you don't get that as much this time. So coming up next is 9/12, which is titled Dads and Cads. It's airing on March 5th, 2026. It's written by, we're pretty sure, Taylor Wong, and it's directed by Nimisha Mukherjee. And we do have a synopsis. So it says Maddie and Buck are blindsided by some unexpected news that turns their world upside down. Meanwhile, Buck and Eddie head to Nashville when they're selected to participate in the National Firefighting Games. So interesting. Says so much by saying so little.
So little.
Maddie and Buck, meanwhile Buck. Okay, but
blindsided by some unexpected news.
Think we're gonna have some Buck.
You're gonna have a lot of Buck in here.
This is a Buckisode, which I mean, if it's a Taylor Wong episode, that tracks.
Yeah.
And it's just very interesting with the title, Dads and Cads, and the blindsided by unexpected news that turns their world upside down. So if it's Maddie and Buck, that okay, time for our buddy system theories, like little section.
I'm not claiming this one.
What?
I said I'm not claiming this one.
No, I mean, I wrote this as a joke, but Philip Buckley, are you ready to die? But like, not seriously. I think it's probably something related to.
I'd love for him
one
to
of
be
the
dead,
parents, but I don't know. I would
unfortunately, my logic brain says that's not happening.
I think this is just like pure speculation, but like with Dads and Cads, it seems like it would lean more towards something of like a dad being a cad.
Mm-hmm.
So like a dad having an extramarital affair. And if something's turning Maddie and Buck's worlds upside down, like, yeah. Oh, wait, we did get there.
My theory, based on not the title, but the description, is that a grandmother or a great aunt or a distant relative that they don't really talk to, Buck and Maddie, died. So like someone that is not close enough for them to like fly to Pennsylvania for the funeral, because that would be the whole episode. And obviously Buck's on a road trip or flying or traveling or something.
Whatever.
He's meanwhiling something else. He can't be going to a funeral. Okay.
Meanwhiling.
But anyway, distant family member dies, leaves them an inheritance. That would blindside them. And that would turn their worlds upside down.
And that would be much nicer than like having a parent die or like illness for someone.
Yeah. I wouldn't have to see the Buckleys on my fucking screen again, and I would love that. Because again, would love if they were dead, but if they aren't, I don't want to see them.
That's fair.
What if they just died and there's no body to be found?
Oh my God, they're in the same government lab as Bobby.
Oh God. All right. Mine isn't really a theory. I'm just going with the psycho vibes that we're for sure getting. I think I was just like, okay, instead of Philip, Buckley, what if it's just Margaret because we're dealing with mothers? I know that the title has dads in it. I know, but
the next one
does not. So like Alita, Margaret Buckley's.
Yeah. Also, there's the maybe they have a secret sibling, like a half sibling or something.
That could be possible.
Also, there could be cancer and one of the children.
It's either family or illness.
I don't want that. I'm tired of the illness storylines right now.
Family related illness. I'm also tired.
We haven't had a sick kid. I've been low-key scared always that they're going to give one of the Buckley Han children the cancer that Daniel died from.
Yeah.
Especially since they're on ABC now.
And I would love for that not to happen.
Yeah, let's not do that.
I mean, obviously they'll survive the cancer, but
I know, but I don't want to do that for my emotional sanity.
Okay, well, I'm not saying what I want to happen. I'm just saying things that could happen.
Yeah,
this isn't the wish list.
It's on the table. It's on the table.
It's somewhere on the table.
Other things we know that are going to happen is that same day on March 5th, 2026, in 1 week, in less than a week, the day that you're hearing this
comes out.
We're reporting the news. It's the news of the day, or it has already happened when you're hearing this. It's the crossover, so you guys have to watch Nashville.
Which is so worth it.
We watch it every week. We love it. But I'm just laughing at the people who have to tune into Nashville.
And they know nothing about these characters.
Yeah, but it is called Spirit of the Games. Should be called Heated Rivalry. Major loss on that.
Heated Rivalry in our hearts.
Written by Rashad Raisani and directed by our boy Bradley Bucher. We do have a synopsis. Buck and Eddie head to Nashville for the firefighter games. Tensions rise as Ryan and Don show their competitive sides. When Don injures his hand, Blue is forced to step into the competition for him.
All right, so we've gotten certain interviews from Rashad Raisani about some of the pair-ups that we're probably going to see. I know he did mention Eddie and Don will have some stuff. He also mentioned that Dixie might have a thing or two to say to Buck and Eddie, but I think Leanne teased that she's going to be flirting with the hot guys. So
that tracks after episode 11.
Mm-hmm. And my money is on Eddie or both of them. And I need Eddie to continue the Error 404, a woman is flirting with me situation that he has going on. Other than that, I did have some ideas as far as other pairings that Rashad teased was Eddie and Blue and Buck and Ryan. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, that tripped me again.
Little Ryan.
Little Ryan.
Buck and Little Ryan. Ryan Hart.
It's too confusing.
Fictional Ryan.
Fictional Ryan. Little Ryan. I'm sorry. At actor Michael.
So sorry,
Provost.
Michael.
This is talk to your bosses.
It's not his fault.
That's their fault, man.
That is their fault.
Names.
Ryan.
You know what? That is Tim and Rashad's fault for naming the character.
Yeah.
The same name as one of the actors. Come on.
Yeah. I'm sorry, man. That's their fault. If you ever hear this is their fault. Anyway, so 4.
I just thought of we're gonna have to hear Ryan in character as Eddie say Ryan.
Also Buck in character of Buck.
No.
Oh, the fourth wall breaks.
Oh
no. Amazing.
Continue.
All right. So Eddie and Blue.
Little Ryan.
Eddie and Blue.
Can we call him Lil Ryan? Like it's his rapper name?
Lil Ryan. Listen, I'm trying to get us through and y'all are cracking jokes. The Eddie and Blue pairing, which is just a blurb, but I think it's interesting that we've had Eddie interact with I want to say kids, but I mean older teenagers. How old is Blue? I think we said
How old is Blue supposed to be?
It's like 19, 20. I feel like I asked this question when I made up this slate theory, and I think we said it was 19.
Yeah.
So not too far from Abigail, but it's like consistent with like Eddie helping older teen now, or kids technically, with, so again, going with the thread of Abigail and her parents, Eddie saving her technically from her parents. Blue has had a certain conversation with Dixie in episode, I forgot what episode, but it was like a very like confrontational conversation where she's kind of like manipulating situations, or he finally learns that she is manipulating situations. It's very reminiscent to things that Eddie and Abigail have gone through. So I'm thinking that maybe they can bond over their very like manipulative parents, mother. There's going to be some kind of like issues, like parental issues coming up, and they can bond over that. Or at least that's what I hope, if we really want to tie it into like why they would bond together, right?
Yeah.
And then we have Buck and Little Ryan.
Lil Ryan.
Again, could be a wish list item, but I think it's interesting that when Lil Ryan was introduced, we learned that he and his wife Sarah, they were not speaking to each other. I'm trying to remember, but either way, they weren't speaking to each other, weren't on good terms. And then at some point, I think it was in the second episode of Nashville, she serves them up divorce papers. Right. But by the third episode, they're like, okay, we'll try to make this work. And he and Sarah have been trying to make this work throughout the entire season. Meanwhile, I think it would be very interesting for Buck to see Ryan have this partner that he's been trying to like, you know, he's been trying to work that relationship, because Buck's partner, Buck's half, like he and Eddie haven't had like a proper conversation since 8/17. They've been on these two separate journeys. And we've been saying like, oh, they've been kind of weird, but it's like they're slowly but surely coming back together. And maybe we are gearing up for a true conversation between them after their big fight. But like initially where they started, so like both Buck and Lil Ryan have started, they were separated from their partners in a way. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, I really hope that Buck and Lil Ryan connect in Nashville over like their partners and having a family, because basically what Lil Ryan has is what Buck wants. You know what I mean? Like he's got a whole family and he's got a partner, and like, you know. So I think it's something that they can bond about.
Definitely.
Okay, and so the next episode that we have is 9/13, called Mother's Boy. It's going to air March 12, 2026. It is written by who the fuck knows?
Tim?
Tim, is that you, buddy?
Tim?
Are we getting a Timothy and Jonathan Lawrence? By the way, it's directed by Jonathan Lawrence, who directed the amazing 8/17 episode.
And you're all welcome for that, because we manifested that.
Oh, yeah.
You literally said, like, wouldn't it be great if Jonathan Lawrence came back? And then, like, the next day or something, it was like Jonathan Lawrence spot on set, or like...
It was in the same week. I don't know how long in between, but I was like, wow.
Maybe a couple days.
Power.
And he, like, posted on Facebook, and we were like, what?
We're like, uh-oh. Okay. All right. So directed by Jonathan Lawrence. Hey, maybe it's a writer-director tag team between two besties. I don't know, man.
Oh my God. But about two besties?
With two besties about two besties. You know what? I love that.
We don't know who's writing it yet.
We don't know who's writing it. It could be Timothy.
Just alleging. We just think that Tim
We kind of hope it's Tim.
Write it.
Yeah. It's been a minute.
Based on what we know about the episode, it just...
feels like he wants his hands on it.
It has a smell of Timothy about it. The horror, the psycho.
Alfred Hitchcock?
Yeah. You know?
Yeah. So, buddy system theory, it's going to be based off of Hit fucking Psycho. We got the hotel motel buddy in. Sorry.
No, I've been doing that too.
Only one bed in.
So, like, the whole reason we kind of like started getting our hooks into this idea of like it being inspired by Psycho was what exactly? I forget.
The title, first of all, title, because first of all, everyone thought it was the novel Mother's Boy.
Right.
But then we were like, oh, it's the motel, it's Psycho, but he calls her mother. And then J-Law.
Was it Was it J-Law or I think Keith Tripler?
Was it Tripler?
Tripler posted the poster.
The psycho poster?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And we know he was on set, on location.
Yes.
Some pictures. So
yeah, and I think just the aesthetic of the motel and the desert and like just the set in general, everyone's like it's either Psycho or the novel, and then we got more confirmation that it's more leaning into the Psycho vibes. Mm-hmm. We watched the film.
We did research.
We sure did.
We did.
That was something
that was a movie we watched.
It was an entertaining movie. I'd never actually seen it before, but like we knew the story.
Yeah.
So what's our buddy system theory still?
I mean, okay. So I have a crack theory. And this is all contingent on if our guest actress Fallon Heaslip returns, actually, I think. Or wait, no, are we talking about my crack theory or are we talking about like what we think is gonna happen?
I think we had the general theory after we watched it of just like Buddy being the other couple, the final guy and girl.
Yes. Okay. So like Hotel Motel Holiday Inn with Psycho, and it's giving supernatural vibes. I think that's some of it too, because I was like, wow, this is really weird. It feels like supernatural. It's like Buck and Eddie at diners, Buck and Eddie at motels, Buck and Eddie on the road. It's it's giving Dean Cass-Sam on the road, right? On Americana back roads. Mm-hmm. So here's the thing. So like when we watched the film, I was trying to figure out like who's who in this film, because a lot of people were trying to go with Eddie is tied to Norman Bates a little bit, or Marion. And I was just like, after watching the film, I'm like, well, let's not do this. Let's not. But I mean, there are some things, tied into like the mommy issues, potential like Helena callbacks to her being a terrible, horrible mother. There's some queer coding in there. I know.
Where to start?
There's famously queer coding of Norman Bates.
So there's some potential queer coding in there that we'll probably get into more when we actually watch the actual episode.
Or in the 12 special.
Yes.
We'll probably have a synopsis for that.
Oh, yes. Oh, boy.
We shall.
So anyway, so I was trying to cast Buck and Eddie in the roles, and it didn't work out with Marion and Norman Bates, so I went with Sam and Lila. Mm-hmm. So Sam and Lila, they are the final people in the movie. Lila is actually the main character. She's worried about her sister Marion, who has disappeared. And they basically solved the case. So like, I think, so a la Supernatural too, Buck and Eddie could just stumble upon a case where someone is like, maybe they have connection with the motel manager or whatever. And then like one of them does. And then things just get really fucking weird. And then they're, teaming up together to kind of like, or they just stumble in this situation. Not like they wanted to do this, but like it just like they got intrigued at this point, or like somehow they got tied into it and they have to solve what's going on there.
Yeah.
I would also like to say maybe Monfett could be involved in co-writing this, because he also has a strong horror background on record.
And I think Savard
loving supernatural, Savard too. So those are
that would be fun.
Who we're looking at for this episode.
So Silas Savard, Christopher Monfett, and Timothy. Tim.
Timothy.
Yeah. I was trying to do that. It just didn't want to come out.
She's shaking her head at herself. I can't. It's bad when Rachel shakes her head at herself.
I'm just doing it for you guys.
All right. So symbolism, foreshadowing, Psycho, and 10 through 11. Multiple knives have been shown. So we had one at the call with the kid that had congenital insensitivity to pain. There were 3 in relation to Harry.
It was the two that he got gifted from Athena and May, and then
the chainsaw or whatever.
No,
the chainsaw.
Well, okay, so maybe 4. The one that I was thinking about was with Buck when he was like, well, Buck.
Oh yeah, like
he said as long as I didn't touch the knife.
Yeah. There are 2 in relation to Eddie. So one found in this tire, and then Abigail actually attacking him with the knife, which actually,
Abigail's father.
Dead, yeah.
I'm sorry, Abigail's father attacking him with the knife, which, a parental figure attacks Marion in the bathroom with a knife. Hey.
Parental figure.
Parental figures. I don't know, whatever. You know what I mean. Okay. It's just weird.
Yeah.
Knives.
Then we have motel signs. Abigail calling Eddie from the bathroom, and Abigail working at the motel cleaning the sheets. And like Psycho takes place largely in
a motel.
So yeah, I don't know. Just interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think when we saw the shot of like the motel sign in 11, we were like, huh? I mean, it's not the same motel sign.
No, of course.
And then also in 11, we had Eddie and Chris watching a scary movie. I think it's pretty obviously The Sixth Sense. And Eddie was excited for Chris to see the plot twist, which also like, and in a canonical, like explicit, like wait for the plot twist sort of thing. We've been talking a lot about like fake outs this season as well. And misdirects. But Chris reveals that he knows about the character being dead the entire time because he read it on the internet. And not to spoil a 60-year-old movie, but a character in that movie, in the movie Psycho, has been dead the whole time. So
interesting. I don't know if you talked about this in the Abigail calling Eddie from the bathroom, but a bathroom was very significant in the movie where Marion dies. That's the infamous shower scene. Just saying.
Like that's literally
where that literally. Yes.
Okay, so kind of random a little bit, but I thought it was an interesting shot. So like there's that shot of Eddie and Chris on the couch. There's a coat rack behind them, and it gives like the impression of like someone kind of standing behind them. And it just reminds me of that shower scene where like you see the silhouette coming closer and closer and closer right before Marion gets stabbed. And so like, I mean, I think the fandom has been saying that Marion and Eddie, let's stab Eddie, which that I agree with.
Yes.
Everybody should just stab Caesar. Sorry.
Yeah. Eddie should get stabbed. He got sliced. He got slashed at. He should get stabbed a little bit.
But no, we're talking actual admitted to the hospital NDE. Not.
Oh, look at my boo-boo.
No, not like let me go whore myself out on the catwalk and bid on myself injury. No.
Yeah. It is also kind of interesting though with this shot that you're talking about, Syl, because they did kind of do something similar with Eddie in the motel, and Abigail's dad shows up behind him in the doorway. So like
with the knife,
that is literally the same thing as well.
Yeah.
So there's a very similar plot point to the movie and to this episode where I guess Athena could be like casted as the private investigator to deliver the message that Eddie or the person that Marion stole the money from, because I forgot what really their roles were. I feel like there was some real estate thingy that they didn't want to press charges. So like Eddie didn't want to press charges, against Abigail. He just wanted Athena to talk to her and to tell her to back down. In this scenario with Psycho, they didn't want to charge Marion with anything. They just wanted her to return the money in the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that is pretty similar of how Eddie was like, no, I want to arrest her.
And then we have Eddie telling Abigail, if you get tired, pull over. Don't be a hero, which is bringing back, and if this happens, I feel like it's going to be vindication for the buddy system. Car crash theory.
Mm-hmm.
Classic. Circa season 8.
Or, pulling over and sleeping in a motel where people are going to try and kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the movie Psycho, like Marion gets into a little bit of hot water because she pulled over the side of the road because she was tired.
Yeah.
And that's how she ends up in the motel anyways, like after that. Also, as Eddie is like sending Abigail off, he gives her an envelope with money, which Marion had an envelope full of money that she stole.
Why are we handing people envelopes full of money in 2026?
So, I don't know.
For the symbolism, for the parallels.
I guess. What I'm saying, it feels purposeful for something.
Right.
Like, why envelope full of cash and the physical map and...
Hey, that's my crack theory. Just to add on to that, Hitchcock does like to use MacGuffins a lot. So at the end of 9/10, Abigail picks up Christopher, right? I feel like Christopher was really the MacGuffin of that whole situation. So, but it's just very similar to like how Marion leaves with the envelope full of money, which is the MacGuffin for her in Psycho. And like she gets in her car and she's like, you can tell in her face, like she knows she's doing something wrong, but it's like for in her head good reasons or things for fulfillment, but good reasons. And for Abigail, it was like, oh, I have good intentions, but I'm still kind of like, she was a little like shaky in that final scene in 9/10.
Yeah.
Okay, so fun fact, in 911 Lone Star in season 1, episode 8, there is actually a call that is clearly a nod to Psycho. There's a lot of elements that were really like taken from the movie. So like in the 911 call, the man referred to his mom as mother. Another thing that happens is when Michelle arrives so Liv Tyler's character finally arrives at the scene with the rest of the paramedics, they can tell that the mother is clearly dead. The guy is acting like she's been alive this entire time, but she's clearly dead on the bed.
Ooh.
At some point,
that's the movie.
Yeah, that's the movie. At some point, he pulls a sword and threatens them, but they tell him to turn around as they conduct the ABCs, and then Liv Tyler gets the life pack and tells him to turn back around, and she shocks him, and that's how they resolve that. There's also a direct line from Psycho delivered by the character Tim Rosewater, which is a boy's best friend is his mother. So hey, also the house. When you first see the house, when they first enter and arrive at the scene, it's so similar. It's the door, the stairwell. It doesn't have like the stairs. You don't see the stairs that go down to a fruit cellar. I don't even know if it existed on that set, but it's a very similar shot of
who wrote
like
this
setup
episode?
of the.
Good question. I don't know, but not Timothy.
You want
Molly
me to find
and
that?
James?
Not Molly and James. I think I tried looking at it the last time. It's some random, not random,
Hang
but
on.
you know.
Not any of our people.
Let me find it real quick. Hang on. List of episodes. That was season 1, episode 8. You said. Tanya Kong. Love her.
And Tanya Kong wrote season 1, episode
She's done
8,
a couple
Monster
stuff, right?
Inside. It's called Monster Inside.
Also, just like interestingly, in episode 10, Chimney, after his nightmares, and he's telling Maddie about them, he's like, no need to call Sigmund Freud on this one. And it's just like, and also a little bit, I think with 907, Buck like basically psychoanalyzing Eddie and being like, it's the chastity belt of your mind. These are very like Freudian psychoanalytic concepts that is very prevalent in Psycho because it was of the time.
All right.
Yeah.
So I think this is so with this list of evidence, I think this is where my buddy system crack theory comes in, because like at some point I got to the part where, Eddie gives Abigail an envelope full of money. He tells her to pull over if she's tired. I'm like, oh my God. She's literally like Marion in this scenario. If and that is if she's
in danger, girl.
And that is if she's in 913. It's crazy. I just think it's, again, a little interesting that Fallon Heaslip put in her Instagram post about 9/11 that, hey, maybe Abigail can come back someday. I just think it would be interesting.
Well, she does have Eddie's phone number.
And she's got Eddie's phone number. Walk with me.
We're walking. We're driving.
She's driving. They're driving.
She probably did stop at a motel and she's like, she calls Eddie up. She's like, Eddie, I need help. And then he, I don't know. It's just so interesting. There's a possibility. And I was like, it would make it a little bit more richer if whatever reason they land at this motel is because they're in search of somebody, which is basically what happens in the movie. So like Sam and Lila are in search of Marion because they haven't heard from her in days.
Yes.
So, and like I already casted Eddie and Buck. Like I basically had my complete Psycho 911 cast. So Abigail as Marion, except hopefully she's not fridged. Eddie and Buck as Sam and Lila. And okay, where is Abigail's mom?
Right. She wasn't here at all.
It's so real. Like, what's that bitch doing? Because she was the one like giving the death glares in the courthouse.
The really creepy death glares in episode 10 in the courtroom.
Death glares.
Yeah. Those were creepy
The shit
vibes.
of nightmares. Like,
yes.
At some point I was like, maybe. So I casted her as mother.
I mean,
I don't know. It's just, it's like plausible.
I mean, honestly, if
mother's boy,
if Abigail's dad went a little cuckoo bananas on Eddie and Abigail a little bit, like who's to say her mom also wouldn't do the same?
And I also feel like,
because technically she's not in jail.
Right. And now that I'm thinking about it, you know how we say like Helena is the one that like has the pants in the relationship between her and Ramon. I'm like, okay, so what if like the dad was like the lackey sent to, you know, kind of in that direction, but she's actually the one pulling the strings. Puts her in a position where she's the most dangerous. But see, that was my other thing. So kind of going forward a little bit, again, I was like glomping onto this theory that maybe Abigail could be back. And I was really interested in the title Pick Your Poison, because I felt like 9/13 would be too soon either way. But now that I was like, oh, envelope of money, I was like, wait, maybe. I don't know. Poison is a silent way to kill someone or try to kill someone. Poisoning of the mind also, because like Abigail's mom maybe also is keeping tabs on what the fuck is happening here, you know, and she could be like, you are poisoning my daughter's mind, or like in terms of like the religious trauma, like because we're also thinking like Abigail's queer coded, and you know, like you get what direction I'm going with that. Somebody fill my sentence, please.
No, I mean, I think you said it.
Yeah. So poisoning of the mind, maybe the queer coding stuff. So I was like, hey, crack theory, maybe she can come back for Pick Your Poison, or now maybe even sooner. Maybe this is the reason why Buck and Eddie on their way back stop at a motel. I even played around with the idea that they actually did already come back from Nashville, and then they have to drive out again because Eddie gets a phone call while he's at home and he enlists Buck to help him.
Totally possible.
Yeah.
That is possible.
Yeah. We do have episode titles for the two after that. So we have 9/14, which is DIY, and that airs on March 19th, written by, we don't have a synopsis.
And we don't have a theory. We don't know anything.
I mean, DIY stands for do it yourself.
All I have is a joke, which is if Buck wants Eddie to get laid so badly, he should just do it
himself. We do know that they've been filming in Pasadena for several days on a call. Don't know what that's all about, but they're all there in Pasadena. So,
interesting.
And then I think there's some scenes in Buck's house, but I'm not sure if that's for 9/14 or 9/15 Pick Your Poison, which airs March 26th, written by synopsis and Buddy Systems Theory unless you count what I just said about bringing her back.
100% chance that it's less traumatizing than 8/15.
Oh yeah, I would.
Yep.
Actually, I don't know, but yeah, partly less traumatizing. Alrighty, wish list time.
Yeah, I think some of these are just things we've kind of mentioned or come up with like in the interim hiatus. So as we've been chatting with either people on Discord or live streams, I think we would love to see a supernatural Ghost Facers-esque episode, kind of like almost like a reality show where it breaks the fourth wall a little bit. So if anyone's familiar with Supernatural, there was an episode called Ghost Facers where it was these two guys who were like ghost hunting, but they were filming with their camera, kind of like almost found footage, but Dean and Sam were like cursing the whole time and it was like bleeped out. So we would really love to see that kind of thing, like maybe as, a reality show comes to film. I don't know. It's LA, something like that. So we can just basically hear them swear, but like it would be bleeped because ABC, and also headcanon that it basically Chimney's every other word would be a curse word because obviously, manifesting a musical episode just because if I keep saying it, it will happen. Maybe. I need people to get on board with this. I'll just keep going. So over on Discord, which you can join if you join our Patreon, it's really fun over there. Our friend Carter, I don't know, people were talking about Eddie's mustache and how they want it back. Everyone except Syl. And
again, I just want people to believe me.
Our friend Carter said, yes, the show framed Eddie having the mustache as like disguising himself. But like, and I quote, symbolism can just stop symbolizing whenever you want it to. The mustache deserved its symbolic the mustache served its symbolic purpose. Now it can return as a treat.
Be right next to me. Listen, as an English major, I don't like the idea of symbols stop being symbols or whatever. Sorry. That's one.
It's just funny. I just thought it was funny, so I put it on the wish list.
I think that this is not the most current thing that Syl has said about the mustache, so I feel like you're misrepresenting
me.
Because I was like, Rachel, we should do an RIP mustache photo op with Ryan, and she didn't reply to me, so I was like, wow, Rachel hates me and wants me dead. And Syl was like, I'll do it, even though I'd be lying. And I was like, yay. And then Rachel was like, I'll do it. Only real mustache lovers. And then we had an entire conversation, which is not the first time or second or third or fourth time we've had a conversation ranking the facial hair.
I was gonna say, I'm like, look, I act like a hater. I'm not a hater.
You're not.
I just have a preference, and mustache is second on the list. I'll tell you that. Yes. I'll say that. I prefer mustache.
So she's still a mustache lover, just not like a truther, you know?
Yeah.
The tears.
I'm a truther in its purpose and what it represents.
Yes. Yeah. Anyways, Carter just made me laugh, so I said, I'm putting that on the wish list. So that was for you, Carter. Love you.
Does Carter even listen to the season 9 episode? I don't know.
That would be interesting because then this would be for nothing.
I said in the Discord, I'm putting this on the wish list. They said, okay. This next one is for me personally, because we saw with Nashville, they had like a little hockey league going on. And so we saw a little bit of the 113 like practicing their hockey. And I would just really like an LAFD baseball game. I don't care who with. I just want to see them play baseball. It's my favorite sport and it's so fun. And it would be like, I mean, Ryan played baseball. You have him in the movie Everybody Wants Some. It's right there.
Hey, you can roll up a Chicago and let him know.
I'm just trying to picture if Oliver is really good or bad at...
Oh, bad.
Yeah, I'm thinking bad.
Well, sorry, did I answer that too quickly?
You did.
Happy to be proven wrong.
He's too British for baseball.
He can run across the plates. It's fine.
It's true. But he would have to hit the ball first.
He would be the catcher, probably.
Okay, I'll say this one. Curly wavy hair Eddie, please.
Yes.
I love when his hair is... Wow, I didn't want to even... Actually, yeah. Anyway, his hair looks amazing. Hey, Julie Murray, besties, please do more to his hair. Curly, wavy hair. Free him from the hair gel. I
love to see it.
I know you guys try, actually, because I do see the attempt to not do that full-on hair gel look.
Yeah.
Because the slut strands do come out when they want to. And I kind of mentioned this already. Bring Abigail back. There's opportunity with Abigail's mom, because I think it's weird that she was not mentioned at all when she was she was doing the weird, creepy look and
real suspicious.
And like I said, I think at some point 9-10 they didn't give their parents speaking lines, but they brought back the dad for 9/11, but they had speaking lines in 905. So I just think great opportunity, especially if Fallon Heaslip has now managed to get a guest starring credit as opposed to a co-star credit.
Yeah, it's like we almost have closure, but there's like this little hanging.
There's something. They basically kind of closed the door, but left it slightly open, I think.
Yeah.
Is how that could work.
I just want gay Eddie.
That too. You're going to say it enough until it finally happens.
I forgot to say it in the forecast this time because I have been saying it in the forecast.
I mean, I think that's implied in every
I don't think we
section.
said a forecast, though. But anyway, pretty please let him out of his coat rack.
Get someone that, I don't know, a helping hand, pull him out of there, help him sit up and stand up out of that coat rack. It could have almost happened. Buck is right there. Oh, Buck.
One of these days.
He's shoving the coat rack into a closet.
Damn.
Into the fruit cellar.
He's rolling it down the fruit cellar. It's going to crash.
Okay.
Whoops.
I think
we're done. I think it's time.
I think it's time. 10 o'clock. This episode, both of these episodes were amazing, but episode 11 especially incredible. Can't wait to see the next slew of episodes. Hey, if you're listening to this and it's before March 20th and you're gonna be in Chicago,
see you there.
Find us.
We'll be there. Specifically at the Rescueverse Con, not just in the city of Chicago.
Yeah.
We'll be in that hotel.
We'll also be in Nashville.
The convention's happening.
May 29th.
We will.
Yeah.
But we would love to meet you.
Yes, please.
So let us know in the comments, or if you're on the Discord, let us know if you're going to be in Chicago or Nashville, because we'd love to meet up with you over there.
Yeah. It'll be so fun.
Yeah.
See everyone's faces.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. That's it.
This has been Unhinged Time.
That's all, folks.
Unhinged Time with technical issues and with your favorite buddies.
Remember, don't attempt a buck flip at home.
But if you do,
take a buddy with you,
particularly one who's a medic.
Thank you for listening to the Buddy System podcast.
Can't get enough of the buddies? Subscribe to our Patreon for access to our Discord community, full reaction videos, and even more exclusive content.
And if you really want to make our day, leave a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
Please come yap with us on your favorite social media platform.
We're at Buddy System Pod everywhere. That's BUDDIE System Pod.
Catch you next time. And don't forget,
bring a buddy with you.